Phoenix Knights. Chapter 342. Xiao Feng's speed and lightning skills made the geniuses click their tongues. Even some of the leaders were wary. Although Wei Yunqi was ranked 9th amongst the core disciples of the Heavenly Yuan clan, he could be ranked 1st or 2nd in other strong countries. Such an elite had been defeated by Zhao Feng in an instant. In the process of defeating Wei Yunqi, Zhao Feng indeed didn't use any moves. His usage of lightning had reached a godly level. This was due to the merging of the essence of the mystic flower treasured Bible, which made the core of the lightning inheritance more practical. He doesn't just specialize in bloodline techniques. This makes him hard to deal with. Princess Linyue's expression became solemn. She finally realized that the strongest star of the Canopy Great Country wasn't Prince Jin or Tian Yunji but this unfathomable blue-haired youth like Xian Wuheng. On the Heavenly Yuan clan's side. Brother Mo, that brat's pretty interesting. His strength might be close to Xian Wuheng and Xia Xianshang's. A true mystic rank yellow-faced man said solemnly. The yellow-faced man was ranked 2nd amongst the core disciples of the Heavenly Yuan clan, just below Mo Tianyi. Just then, the yellow-faced man had seriously watched the battle between Zhao Feng and Wei Yunqi and was surprised. Zhao Feng was like child's play and used his speed and lightning skills to defeat Wei Yunqi without even using his hands. Coincidentally, he was familiar with Wei Yunqi and knew the latter's battle style. Unless the opponent had overwhelming power, he wouldn't be defeated so quickly. This Zhao Feng's still young and is much weaker than Xia Xianshang and Xian Wuheng. His strength might be close to Princess Linyue's level. On the stage of the sacred true dragon gathering, just relying on speed would result in an ugly death. With his strength, he'll only be able to reach the top 50 and that'll depend on luck. Mo Tianyi shook his head faintly. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Putting aside Zhao Feng, even prodigies like Xia Xianshang and Xian Wuheng had lost to him. Mo Tianyi stood with his hands behind his back, looking down at the geniuses with a faint sense of loneliness. The yellow-faced man was slightly startled, but then he smiled and said, "That's right, I misjudged Senior Brother Mo's level. In the northern continent, Senior Brother Mo is already invincible." Mo Tianyi's level and vision were far beyond their level. After all, he was already standing at the peak of the northern continent's geniuses. My true opponents are Yu Tianhao, Tan Ilanwe, and the other overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi gazed into the distance with a flickering light in his eyes. At this moment, there was a rare passion and fighting spirit in his eyes. Senior Brother is talking about the Azure Flower Continent's 5 overwhelming prodigies. The yellow-faced man and the people around him could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. 5 peerless prodigies! The core disciples of the Heaven Yuan sect were shocked as they looked at Mo Tianyi with even more respect and admiration. At this moment, Mo Tianyi was right in front of them, but he gave them the feeling that he was so far away. The 5 overwhelming prodigies were the 5 legends that stood at the peak of the Azure Flower Continent. All of them were blessed by the heavens and could be said to be the prodigies of the heavens. There were diviners who said that the 5 overwhelming prodigies would all have unparalleled potential in the future. The 5 overwhelming prodigies are the Middle Continent's Yu Tianhao, the Eastern Continent's Tan Ilanwe, the Western Continent's Shi Qingtian, the Southern Continent's Taiyan Shuangzi, and the Extreme North's Goddess Bingwei. The core disciples of the Heaven Yuan sect had all heard of them. When these 5 were mentioned, everyone's heart jumped. How strong are these peerless geniuses? Zhao Yufei couldn't help but be curious. Very, very strong. So strong that 99% of the geniuses of the northern continent can't even take one move from them. Especially the first place of the last sacred true dragon gathering, Yu Tianhao. Mo Tianyi took a deep breath and clenched his fists, lightly trembling. Even now, the scene of the last sacred true dragon gathering was still replaying in his mind. The yellow-faced man didn't say anything. He had also participated in the last sacred true dragon gathering. At that time, only 3 of the 5 overwhelming prodigies were born. Both him and Mo Tianyi had lost badly. Brother Mo, you weren't even the head disciple back then, and your strength has risen dramatically in 10 years. You can at least reach the top 10 in this sacred true dragon gathering and have the right to compete with these overwhelming prodigies. The yellow-faced man laughed. The rain was still falling and the geniuses gathered in the Northern Star stand had stopped sparring. At this point in time, the scouting of the geniuses of the Northern Continent had basically finished. The geniuses discussed and the topic moved from the geniuses of the Northern Continent to the geniuses of the entire continent. 5 overwhelming prodigies? Zhao Feng occasionally heard a few voices. Even Prince Jin, Jiang San Feng and company would occasionally mention the names of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Time passed by slowly. The day of the Northern Star stand connecting to the sacred zone was approaching. On this day, suddenly, a cold current surged over from the northern region. The vast and varied essence energy of the world froze for some reason. Many of the people present suddenly shivered. What a strong coldness! Zhao Feng felt a cold current and couldn't help but raise his head and look into the distance with his left eye. A cold current and an invisible cold might surged over from afar, toppling mountains and overturning seas. On the Northern Star stand, some true lord ranks and even those at the half-step origin core realm sensed it and stood up. Xiuhu, a beautiful ball of blue ice light, flew through the air. From afar, it looked like a disk made of ice crystals, causing a freezing current to rush towards the Northern Star stand. The speed of the blue light was almost 10 times faster than the Iron Blood Religion's Golden Spear Blood Dragon sedan. In the blink of an eye, the blue light carried more than a dozen figures and landed on the Northern Star stand. With the terrifying cold air currents scattered everywhere. With the blood of the geniuses present almost froze and some of them screamed but couldn't make a sound. See! In an instant, the entire Northern Star stand turned into a sparkling ice field. The rain from the past few days had all turned into ice and snow. Xiao Feng's blood and qi of true spirit seemed to freeze and his limbs went cold. Luckily, the faint blue blood within his body seemed to be excited and started to merge with the coldness. Not many of the geniuses from the Northern Continent are good enough. A cold female voice came from the dissipating blue ice light. When the blue light faded, more than a dozen figures appeared. Most of them were young men and women. The one at the front was a beauty in white who held an ice-bone staff and had a phoenix king crown on her head. Her aura was otherworldly, and she seemed to be a queen of ice and snow. The ice-bone staff in her hand lightly trembled and the coldness that covered the sky started to fade. Who the true lord ranks present all acted as if they had been pardoned. Greetings, sovereign. Greetings, mystic ice queen. The true lord ranks of the heavenly Yuan clan and the 3 great countries were full of respect and bowed. Wherever the ice queen, who was holding the ice bone, stood, 10 miles of the North Star platform turned into an ice region. This was merely the cold air of the extreme north that she had intentionally or unintentionally dispersed when she flew over. If this mystic ice queen really wanted to attack, everything within 10 miles of the Northern Star stand would be instantly frozen. At that time, apart from the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood Religion and a few other experts at the half-step origin core realm, no one would be able to escape. Zhao Feng took in a cold breath. His eyesight was the strongest, and he saw everything clearly. The mystic ice queen didn't purposely release any coldness, but she still turned the entire Northern Star stand into ice. Dispense with the formalities. The mystic ice queen faintly waved her hand and only replied to a few elders from the heavenly Yuan clan, 10,000 origin clan and 10,000 sword clan. What made the experts feel weird was that the mystic ice queen even said a few words to Tiamo. Tiamo seemed to know the mystic ice queen and was respectful. Mystic ice queen! This is a legendary sovereign at the origin core realm. In the corner, Baimuo's heart shook and he found it hard to breathe. He felt his blood and qi of true spirit freeze and he couldn't feel his limbs. True Lord Tiexiao's eyes were filled with shock and respect. He didn't even have the courage to go up and greet the mystic ice queen. The mystic ice queen is a sovereign from the extreme north. There's a teleportation platform there. Why would she come here? That's right, why would someone from the mystic ice palace come here? After a short uproar, discussions broke out below. The Mystic Ice Palace was one of the 10 great clans like the Heavenly Yuan clan. This clan was located in the extreme north and could barely be seen as a part of the northern continent. However, the Mystic Ice Palace rarely interacted with the other forces of the northern continent, and were on their own. This time, the Mystic Ice Palace came to the Northern Star Stand. The Mystic Ice Palace was on the same level as the Heavenly Yuan clan and had 10 geniuses. Of the 10 geniuses, the majority were females and the minority were males. The top disciple of the Mystic Ice Palace was a beautiful ice beauty. Her eyes were cold, and her skin seemed to be made of smooth snow jade. It was perfect and bone-chilling. Goddess Bing Wei. Mo Tianyi's voice was hoarse as he spat out these 4 words. Goddess Bing Wei. One of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The hearts of the geniuses of the northern continent shook as they inspected the icy beauty. Goddess Bing Wei sat on the spot with a half-transparent coldness around her. Even the 2 true mystic rank geniuses didn't dare to come close. Shua! Goddess Bing Wei's cold eyes suddenly scanned across the geniuses. Instantly, the geniuses felt their minds freeze and couldn't say a single word. Their chi of true spirit seemed to be frozen. What a terrifying girl! Even those at the peak true mystic rank of the older generation felt a coldness that made their hearts go cold. They couldn't resist it. All those under the true lord rank were pressured by Goddess Bing Wei's coldness. Even someone as strong as Mo Tianyi clenched his teeth and resisted the coldness. Xia Xianshang and Xian Wuheng couldn't resist it head-on, and could only look at Goddess Bing Wei's beauty. The 5 overwhelming prodigies are too strong. How can this be the power of the younger generation? Zhao Feng felt the pressure of a true lord rank and obviously couldn't take it head-on. At this moment, he finally understood what blood-haired Tiamat had said to him. Tiamat didn't expect him to be at the top. Reaching the top 100 would be enough, and reaching the top 50 would be good. Top 20 was impossible, and as for top 10 or first, that was just wishful thinking. Goddess Bing Wei scanned the crowd but didn't say anything. Bing Wei, how is it? The Mystic Ice Queen smiled. No opponent. My only opponent in the continent is Yu Tianhao. Goddess Bing Wei took back her gaze and was slightly disappointed. If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have come to the northern continent. Chapter 343. The terrifying strength of the overwhelming prodigy made the hearts of the geniuses of the northern continent tremble, as they were unable to block the cold aura. Only Mo Tianyi could barely block it. At this point in time, waves of shock swept through the hearts of the geniuses of the northern continent, as their confidence and fighting spirit received a heavy blow. In reality, the northern continent had Mo Tianyi, Xia Xianshang and other peak geniuses as well as Xian Wuheng, Sang Yuyue and Zhao Feng. In other words, Mo Tianyi's generation wasn't weak and had reached the peak of previous generations. However, they were both lucky and unlucky. At this time, the Azure Flower continent was welcoming the peak of dozens of generations, or else the chances of the Heaven's legacy inheritance connecting wouldn't be so high. Overwhelming prodigies usually only appear once in several generations. For example, the Sword Saint Yi Wuxie, the Three-Eyed Sky Sovereign, the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch, etc. But in this generation, 5 overwhelming prodigies have appeared at the same time. Blood-hair-colored Tiamo's eyes twinkled with expectation and worry. Every peerless prodigy was able to suppress several eras. But in this generation, 5 had appeared at once. Especially this generation's Yu Tianhao, who was said to have suppressed dozens of generations and surpassed the Sword Saint Yi Wuxie, leading an unprecedented era. She just used a special method to merge the coldness of her true spirit into the air and use a mental energy secret technique to release it. Anyone who looks at her will be able to sense her power. Then, based on the clash of spiritual energy, she can determine the opponent in a certain area. Zhao Feng calmed down and analyzed. Through this secret technique, Goddess Bing Wei concluded that no one in the northern continent was her match. The invisible clash of spirit and chi activity proved everything. Be it Zhao Feng, Xian Wuheng, Princess Linwei, Prince Jin, Sang Yuyue and company, they all lost. If it was Zhao Feng, he wouldn't need to go through so much trouble. With a sweep of his god's spiritual eye, all existences under the origin core realm, including their bloodlines and inheritances, were all revealed. But Zhao Feng didn't dare to do this unless he had the strength of an overwhelming prodigy like Goddess Bingwei. Late-stage true human rank cultivation, a powerful bloodline and a pure skill that surpasses all the geniuses here, including me. Zhao Feng carefully opened his god's spiritual eye and analyzed Goddess Bingwei's strength. First was his cultivation. Goddess Bingwei was at the late stages of the true human rank and was close to the peak, surpassing all the younger generation present. Secondly, it was his bloodline, which was also top-notch, stronger than Prince Jin, Wang Xiuguai, and the others. Only Mo Tianyi's art purity was close to hers. After all, they were both head disciples of the top 10 sections. The previous head disciples of the Profound Ice Palace were all very strong. This was because the Mystic Ice Palace controlled one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance, which could be opened once every few decades. Apparently Goddess Bingwei obtained some of the essence of the Profound Ice Inheritance. Jiang Sanfeng couldn't help but sigh with envy. Zhao Feng had also heard of this. Although he had obtained the strongest inheritance of the Floating Crest Palace and the essence of the Water Moon Treasury, it wasn't even worth mentioning compared to the Mystic Ice Inheritance. To be titled an overwhelming prodigy, any one of them had great fortune that surpassed Zhao Feng by more than 10 times. Maybe I won't be able to reach the top in this sacred true dragon gathering, but being born in this great era is a blessing. The most important thing is that I can connect to even stronger inheritances. Zhao Feng's heart calmed down, and his expression became cold. In next to no time, he closed his eyes and started to meditate and comprehend. Tianma saw Zhao Feng's change in heart, and couldn't help but nod his head. This Zhao Feng's mentality is very good. Because of Goddess Bingwei's appearance, the overwhelming prodigy's power had caused many geniuses' emotions to fluctuate greatly. Some fell to the lowest point, some were filled with hatred and unwillingness, etc. However, Zhao Feng's mentality was very good and accepted reality before returning to normal. At the same time on the 10,000 Origin Clan's side. Even if it's me, it's still very small to get first. I'm really looking forward to this era. Xian Wuheng's normal face was expressionless. His heart hadn't wavered at all, as if he had experienced countless ups and downs in life. Xian Wuheng also closed his eyes and immersed himself in his own world. Time passed by slowly. The geniuses on the Northern Star stand were silent. Everyone was waiting. 3 days later. The surface of the Northern Star stand's white crystalline stone platform was surrounded by a layer of sparkling white light. At the start, the white light was slightly dim, but it became brighter and brighter. At a certain moment, when at the center of the Northern Star stand, a layer of white light condensed on the pure black stone door, filling the entire door. The Northern Star Gate has opened. The sacred true dragon gathering is about to begin. Everyone, get ready! Led this great era. The Northern Star stand broke out in cheers. There were several hundred geniuses gathered here. This was the first time most of them were participating in the sacred true dragon gathering, and their hearts were filled with excitement. Maybe not everyone could compete for the top 10 or top 100, but to most geniuses, being able to display their skills on the stage where all the top geniuses of the continent gathered and blossomed for a moment was enough to die with no regrets. When the pure black door at the center gave off a white light that became brighter and brighter. At the end, the white light covered the entire Northern Star stand as if welcoming a new era. Everyone of the continent. The sacred true dragon gathering is about to begin. Through the stone door you will be able to enter the ancient arena. A majestic voice came from the ancient and pure black stone door. This voice was extremely bright and seemed to come from the other side of time and space. Let's go. The Mystic Ice Queen waved her hand, and the representatives of the Mystic Ice Palace all passed through the white light. Shwa! 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 These figures would instantly disappear the moment they touched the stone door. When the white light on the Northern Star stand became brighter and brighter. This is... Everyone found that the bottom of their feet had started to form an array. when the entire northern star stand suddenly shook and released a white light that shot into the sky. What's this sign? The hearts of the mystic Ice Queen, the elders of the heavenly Yuan clan and blood-hair-colored Tiamat and company shook. In that instant, the white light soared into the sky, faintly forming the silhouette of a huge dragon. At the same time, in the eastern continent, the western continent, the northern continent, the southern continent, and even the central continent, an illusory dragon image appeared in the sky. 5 sparkling illusionary dragons entangled in the air above the green flower continent, tearing at each other. However, the continent was vast and the people on the northern star stand were like specks of dust that couldn't see the entire situation. However, just this gigantic illusory dragon silhouette alone was enough to shock everyone present. This is Genius Dragon Blessing! Oh my god! Such a large amount of Genius Dragon Blessing! Only in the eras of the Sword Saint Wuxia and the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch had 1 or 2 Genius Dragons. The 5-star platforms on the continent were in an uproar, causing an uproar. If the Northern Star Stand can have a Genius Dragon Blessing, then the Middle Continent and Eastern Continent definitely won't lose out. Blood-hair-colored Tiamat's expression changed dramatically. He felt that this era wasn't the same as before. According to his guesses, in this era, there were 5 overwhelming geniuses, especially Yu Tianhao, who was said to have suppressed dozens of eras. His dragon of fate could only be strong. Blood-hair-colored Tiamat's guess wasn't wrong. In the central continent, the fate dragon was the largest, and the light it gave off was the most brilliant. It soared into the sky void, faintly giving off an aura of supremacy and arrogance. What's the theory behind the aura of Genius Dragon Blessing? Under Zhao Feng's curiosity, he opened his god's spiritual eye and looked through the layers of space. His god's spiritual eye was circulated to the maximum and entered a profound level. Shwa! His mental energy consciousness suddenly leapt out of his body and flew into the sky. At an unimaginably high level, Zhao Feng's consciousness saw the 5 genius dragons. Canopy Great Country. A 6-sided tall tower that was as black as the night sky stood in the deep mountains. This was the legendary and mysterious 6 Warlock Divine Tower. It was the Mount Tai of the world of divination. On the 49th floor of the 6 Warlock Divine Tower stood a few figures dressed as priests. At the very front stood an ancient and tall old man. A black cloak that was as tranquil as the night covered most of his face. The people of the world could only see a pair of eyes that were as deep as the starry night. Although they seemed turbid, there was a kind of wisdom that came from the vicissitudes of life. 36 priests sat cross-legged behind the mysterious elder. Strands of silver light appeared on their bodies and merged with the endless void. When at this moment in time, a screen of silver light appeared in the sky above the 6 Warlock Divine Tower. Within the screen of light, there were 5 genius dragons that were baring their fangs and claws. They were located in the middle, east, west, south, and north. Meow! A weird cat's cry sounded through the air. A silver-black cat that was around the size of 2 adult palms appeared on the mysterious elder's shoulder. This silver-black cat had a lazy expression and squinted its eyes as it stared into the air. It raised its hand, and 5 ancient copper coins appeared in its palm. Ding! Ding! Sage, do the 5 dragons of Providence represent the 5 peerless geniuses? A priestess with a face as beautiful as the night moon had a respectful expression on her face. Not exactly. The 5 genius dragons don't just represent the 5 overwhelming prodigies, but the combination of countless geniuses across the 5 zones. Of course, the 5 overwhelming prodigies each lead this generation, so they can indeed represent the 5 genius dragons. The sage smiled and said. His eyes were still staring into the air as he murmured. The chance of the heavens' legacy inheritance connecting with the continent has increased to 20%. However, there are still all sorts of variables in the mysteries of the heavens that push this great era towards an unknown direction. Look, what's that? Heavens! The priest suddenly exclaimed in surprise. The silver-black cat in front of the sage also stared at the screen of light with bulging eyes as if it was choking. A faintly discernible eye of heaven appeared above the 5 dragons of Providence. The eye of heaven appeared in the sky and coldly looked down at the 5 genius Providence dragons. All the priests of the 6 warlock divine tower were stunned by this scene. However, the eye of heaven only appeared for a breath or two before disappearing, as if it was just an illusion. Chapter 344. The eye of heaven's appearance seemed to be an illusion. It coldly looked down at the 5 dragon blessings. The 5 dragon blessings were enormous and bared their fangs and claws. They didn't even notice what was happening above them. Maybe the eye of heaven didn't have the power to fight against the dragon blessings even though it could see through heaven and earth. Sage, what was that scene just now? The pure and flawless priestess who was as beautiful as the moon turned pale. The priests behind her were full of confusion. One had to know that the 5 dragon blessings corresponded to the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Each of them had unparalleled power that could suppress the geniuses of several generations. Just now, an eye of heaven had appeared, and it was looking down on the 5 dragon blessings. It seemed to be above the 5 dragon blessings. It was born 2 years ago. The sage's tall figure stood at the top of the tower, and his voice was calm. His turbid eyes were filled with a mysterious and empty color. Could it be that a prodigy that can surpass the 5 dragon blessings has appeared on this continent? The high priests were shocked. If this was true, then the owner of the eye of heaven was too terrifying. You all saw the scene just now. The eye of heaven hasn't interacted with the 5 dragon blessings yet. This means that it hasn't reached a level where it can threaten the 5 overwhelming prodigies, let alone surpass them. The wise man smiled. Then what did the scene just now mean? The priestess who was as pure and holy as the moonlight could not help but feel curious. Even now, she was still stunned by the scene just now. The sage closed his eyes tiredly and didn't say anything else. Northern Star Stand. A massive genius blessing dragon soared into the sky, causing the entire Northern Star Stand to glow with a brilliant light. A complex and mysterious array appeared under everyone's feet. When suddenly, the sparkling light that covered the entire Northern Star Stand brightened to the extreme and let out a humming sound. In the next instant, shwa! Shwa! Swish! The numerous figures on the Northern Star Stand disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye, leaving behind a flash of white light. Even Zhao Feng was covered by a white light and disappeared. A breath or two later, the entire Northern Star Stand was dead silent, without a single person in sight. After a moment of spinning and losing his balance of gravity, Zhao Feng's feet sank and he landed on the ground. Whoosh! 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 At the same time, rays of white light lit up the surroundings, and figures from the Northern Star Stand appeared. Thump! Some of the inexperienced newbies fell from the sky in a panic, causing them to feel dizzy. Oh my God! This is the primordial arena! A wave of shocked gasps came from all around. Zhao Feng's gaze swept across the surroundings, and his heart trembled deeply. This was a huge and majestic ancient arena. Every brick and stone contained the precipitation of time and emitted a mysterious and ancient aura. It was as if they were in an ancient mythological era. The floor of the arena was made of a mysterious and rare silver-green material. It wasn't made of metal or stone, and the markings on its surface were simple and unadorned. However, its hardness was comparable to a spirit-rank divine weapon. The entire arena was 100 miles wide, and it shot into the sky, competing with the clouds and sunlight. It was grand and magnificent. The surroundings of the primordial Colosseum were even more magnificent and earth-shattering works. Surrounding the arena were mountains that towered into the clouds. At the edge of the mountains, there were many majestic stone statues. These stone statues ranged from tens of feet to hundreds of feet tall. The 10 tallest statues were hundreds of feet tall, and some were even close to 1,000 feet tall. Every statue was lifelike, majestic. There were beasts, humans, aliens, and all sorts of strange shapes. It was as if they contained divine power from the ancient times. Looking at them, one's heart would feel an indescribable sense of respect. especially the 10 tallest, heaven-raising stone statues. They seemed to stand side by side with the heavens and earth, majestic and boundless. They all had different expressions. Some were emotionless, some were domineering, some were carefree, and some had a sinister smile. It was as if they were illustrating the glory of a lost legend. The tens of thousands of stone statues piled up to form a boundless stone statue mountain that surrounded the ancient Colosseum. At first glance, the majestic divine power that covered the heavens and earth attacked the soul's vision. It was as if there were gods, demons, and ghosts watching the ancient arena's every move, adding a solemn feeling to it. With the current manpower, I'm afraid it would be difficult to recreate such a grand project. Zhao Feng was shocked. Especially the surrounding stone statue mountain that surrounded the grand arena, as if it was continuing the ancient legend. Suddenly, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye had a strange throbbing and reaction. The majestic stone statues gave him the illusion that they had intelligence, as if they contained some mysterious power of nothingness. Zhao Feng shook his head. These stone statues were definitely lifeless objects. The ancient Colosseum has existed since ancient times. Its history is even as old as the continent itself. Even the 10 great sects of the continent are unable to trace its origins. Blood-hair-colored Tiamat stood beside Zhao Feng. Soon, Jiang Sanfeng, Dai Lan, and Dong Shui also gathered around. In a short span of 10 breaths, tens of thousands of figures appeared in the ancient arena. The geniuses from every region of the continent entered the ancient arena at the same time. It took them a while to react and regroup with their respective factions. Middle Continent, Eastern Continent, Western Continent, Southern Continent, Northern Continent. The geniuses of the 5 continents were sent to the 5 areas of the ancient arena. Boom! Above the arena, an oval-shaped ancient golden platform floated in midair, with a diameter of about 10 to 20 feet. Compared to the enormous ancient arena, this stage was like a sesame seed. Shwa! 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 Suddenly, a few figures appeared on the ancient golden pedestal. They were all dressed differently. The common point was that they all had an aura that seemed to suppress the heavens and earth. Their every action merged with the heaven-earth yuan qi. It's people from the Sacred Alliance. Every sacred true dragon gathering is judged by the Sacred Alliance. The noise below the stage suddenly quieted down. This was because the cultivations of the figures on the golden stage had all surpassed the true Lord rank and reached the origin core realm. Amongst them, Zhao Feng saw a mystic-clothed youth who had a majestic aura. It was the mystic sword sovereign from the Rising Dragon auction. Soon, 9 sovereigns at the origin core realm appeared on the golden stage, making the hearts of the geniuses below shake. In the past, the Sacred Alliance would only send 2 or 3 sovereigns at the origin core realm at most. This time, it has only just begun, and there are already 9 of them. Even the Deputy Palace Lord of the Sacred Alliance has appeared. Some of the peak experts of the continent began to discuss in secret. The Deputy Palace Lord of the Sacred Alliance sat in the middle. He was a tall figure with bronze skin and a pair of eyes like orange gold. His hair was like purple and black flames. The most eye-catching thing was the huge black saber on his back. It was domineering and a bit ferocious. It was nearly 2 meters long, and there was a row of nicks at the front. It was actually a broken saber. The bronze-skinned giant sat at the center of the golden stage, as if he was suppressing all the gods and ghosts in the arena. The 2 origin core realms on his left and right had respectful expressions, and they would bow to the Deputy Palace Lord whenever they appeared. Greetings, Dominating Blade's Sovereign Lord! The Mystic Ice Queen of the Mystic Ice Palace bowed respectfully to the Deputy Palace Lord. The bronze-skinned giant nodded his head faintly and responded to the sovereigns present. This Deputy Palace Lord has such a terrifying aura. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye didn't dare to easily scan the origin core realm, let alone this bronze-skinned giant. According to his understanding, the origin core realm was split into 3 realms: true human rank, true mystic rank, and true lord rank. The true spirit realm was split into 3 realms: true human rank, true mystic rank, and true lord rank. In these three realms, both true human rank and true lord rank were at the true spirit realm. The origin core realm was split into small origin core realm and great origin core realm. Deputy Palace Lord, what kind of organization is the Sacred Alliance? Why do they have so many sovereigns? Doesn't this mean that even the 10 great clans have to bow down to them? Val Feng asked curiously. Xiao Feng, there's no point in knowing too much about the Sacred Alliance. Simply put, it's an alliance made up of sovereigns at the origin core realm that maintains the balance of the continent. Its members include sovereigns of the 10 great clans and scattered sovereigns. The blood-hair-colored Tiamat explained. Xiao Feng was surprised that there was such a large organization in the continent. Many of the members of the Sacred Alliance were sovereigns from all over the continent, such as the 10 great clans. Therefore, the decisions of the Sacred Alliance were made by the members for stability. It was very hard for one person to make the decision and threaten the entire continent. In history, if there wasn't the Sacred Alliance, the 10 great clans wouldn't be able to band together to destroy the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. The owner of the Rising Dragon auction you participated in before was the Saint Regent Alliance. The blood-hair-colored Tiamat added. No wonder. Xiao Feng faintly understood that although the continent seemed endless, it was actually a small group of people that decided the fate of everything in the world. The Sacred True Dragon Gathering will officially begin in 3 days. The majestic and boundless voice reverberated throughout the spacious ancient arena. The next 3 days were the preparation phase. Every force and every genius had to be examined by the Sacred Alliance, and receive a true dragon token to participate in the competition. During this time, everyone understood the rules of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. A day later, the geniuses of the Canopy Great Country were examined by the Sacred Alliance, and received their True Dragon token. Xiao Feng saw that his True Dragon token was completely blank and flawless. Most others such as Xian Wuheng, Zhao Yufei, Dai Yi, Bei Moi and company all had the same True Dragon token. Of course, there was a small portion whose True Dragon token was different. For example, Jiang Sanfeng's True Dragon token was bronze and he had reached the top 300 in the last Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Prince Jin's True Dragon token was faint silver and had a True Dragon carving on it. Mo Tianyi's True Dragon token was pure silver and bright. The True Dragon carvings on it were extremely lifelike. Val Feng inspected Goddess Bing Wei in the distance. Her True Dragon token was a dazzling gold, and the dragon carvings on it seemed to be alive. It even started to move and gave off a faint dragon roar. It was as if it was the king of a true dragon, causing the nearby True Dragon tokens to tremble. We're all participating in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, but why are we treated differently? Many geniuses complained. Chapter 345. From the start of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, everyone's starting point was different. This also proved that there was no absolute fairness in the world. According to Zhao Feng's observation, the True Dragon token was split into the following grades. White True Dragon token, no color. Most geniuses had this type. Bronze True Dragon token, a small number of geniuses that participated in the last Sacred True Dragon Gathering and reached the top several hundred. Silver True Dragon token, from faint silver to silver. Reached the top 100 in the last Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Gold True Dragon token, from faint gold to shining gold. Reached the top 20 in the last Sacred True Dragon Gathering. The 5 overwhelming prodigies were an exception. No matter if they participated in the last Sacred True Dragon Gathering or not, their True Dragon token was a shining gold one. Zhao Feng was the same as most geniuses and obviously had the lowest white True Dragon token. The Sacred True Dragon Gathering is different to normal competitions. The only thing that determines the winner is the dragon blessing within the True Dragon token. If you win, you can steal a portion of your opponent's blessing. If you lose some of your blessing. Jiang Sanfeng explained in a low tone. After understanding the rules, many people were puzzled. Dai Yi asked, if it's like this, isn't it unfair to those who are participating for the first time? This was also what Zhao Feng was thinking. Some peak geniuses such as Emotiani had a true dragon token that had 100 times more dragon blessing than normal geniuses. The 5 overwhelming prodigies had 1,000 times more dragon blessing than normal geniuses. The rules can be said to be fair or unfair. Jiang Sanfeng smiled faintly. Oh? What do you mean? Everyone was curious. If someone with less dragon providence defeats someone with more dragon providence, they can plunder more dragon providence. On the contrary, if someone with more dragon providence defeats someone with less dragon providence, they can only plunder a negligible amount of dragon providence. Jiang Sanfeng explained. As soon as he said this, everyone was enlightened. For example, the 5 overwhelming prodigies had an enormous amount of dragon blessing, 1,000 times more than normal geniuses. Once they lost, they would lose a large amount of blessing. On the contrary, geniuses participating in the sacred true dragon gathering for the first time had very little providence, and having a portion taken was nothing to Goddess Bing Wei or Emotiani. From the looks of it, as long as one has absolute strength, even a newbie participating in the sacred true dragon gathering for the first time can gather a large amount of dragon blessing and fight against the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Bao Feng secretly nodded. Therefore, the sacred true dragon gathering was both fair and unfair. What was unfair was that everyone's starting point was different. It was just like one's birth. Some people came from royal families, while others came from poor families. But to be fair, as long as you have enough strength, everything can be changed. Thinking up to here, Zhao Feng stared at the empty true dragon token in his hand and his eyes were filled with expectation. Time flew by. 2 days later, all the geniuses from across the continent had received their true dragon tokens. At this moment, the stands around the ancient arena were filled with elites from all over the continent, including some geniuses that weren't fated to participate in the sacred true dragon gathering. Zhao Feng estimated that there were over 100,000 spectators. Furthermore, to watch the sacred true dragon gathering required a large amount of primal crystal stones. It was enough to make those under the true spirit realm go bankrupt. When suddenly, the ground of the ancient arena started to tremble. The mountains of stone statues around the ancient Colosseum were tall and majestic, and they seemed to possess the power of nothingness that could penetrate through heaven and earth. Those stone statues originated from the majestic existences of myths and legends, and they seemed to be watching everything in the arena. The next instant, when in the east, west, south, north, and center regions of the ancient arena, a huge arena appeared in each of them. Each arena had a radius of 10 miles and was bigger than any arena Zhao Feng had seen before. It was large enough to use all kinds of skills and was suitable for long-range weapons. Hua! The 100,000 spectators around the ancient arena burst out with overwhelming enthusiasm. At this moment in time, the blood of every participating genius couldn't help but boil. The sacred true dragon gathering was indeed the focus of the entire continent. Amidst the heated atmosphere, an unparalleled prodigy appeared in each of the 5 regional arenas as they ascended. Eastern Stage, Tanhailanwei Western Stage, Shiqingtian Southern Stage, Taiyun Shuangzi Northern Stage, Goddess Bingwei Middle Stage, Yutianhao. The 5 overwhelming prodigies all had their true dragon tokens glowing and golden true dragon carvings circling around them. This was especially so for Yutianhao, who had a faint golden dragon blessing around him. His blessing seemed to suppress the entire crowd. In the air above the ancient arena on the oval stage, the upper echelon of the Sacred Alliance looked at each other. Finally, the bronze-skinned giant Deputy Palace Lord faintly nodded his head. The first round of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering Battle of 5 Zones begins today. A loud and powerful voice reverberated throughout the entire ancient arena. According to the rules, the geniuses of the continent would be split into the 5 zones based on the strength of their true dragon token. As for which zone they were split into, apart from the strength of their true dragon token, everything else was random. When Zhao Feng found his true dragon token faintly tremble as it resonated with the northern arena, the true dragon token automatically pointed him in the right direction. Some geniuses didn't believe it and purposely went in the opposite direction. The result was that the hearts of the geniuses that tried to go against it shook. The stone statue mountains around the arena seemed to have a divine intent that made it hard for them to move. Only by following the true dragon token could they be like fish in water. Zhao Feng arrived at the northern arena without any problems. An hour later, the several thousand geniuses were split into the eastern, western, southern, northern and middle arenas. Every region had a peerless prodigy. The northern zone that Zhao Feng was at was Goddess Bing Wei of the extreme northern mystic Ice Palace. He looked around to see if there were any other acquaintances who were also assigned to the northern region arena. Wang Xiaoguai, Dong Shui and Bai Mua. Zhao Feng looked around and didn't recognize many people. Wang Xiaoguai also came from the Canopy Great Country. Dong Shui and Zhao Feng both came from the Iron Blood religion. The only unexpected one was Bai Mua. The two of them were once in the same zone. Zhao Feng nodded his head faintly and greeted Bai Mua. Bai Mua's current mood was slightly nervous and excited. Of course, the two of them knew that there were hundreds of geniuses in each region in the competition of the 5 regions. The matches were all random, and not everyone would have the chance to fight. Therefore, the chances of Zhao Feng and Bai Mua meeting each other wasn't high. After all, the ranking of the sacred True Dragon Gathering was determined by one's True Dragon blessing. The Northern Zone competition starts now. Use your True Dragon token to go on stage. There was no doubt that a sovereign at the Origin Core Realm was the judge of the Northern stage. As soon as his words finished, one on the Northern Zone side, a genius True Dragon token hummed and guided him onto the stage. My God, my luck is too bad. The early stage True Human Rank Genius was speechless. The first person to go up on the northern stage was Goddess Bing Wei. White True Dragon token, my luck is too bad. Goddess Bing Wei's eyebrows furrowed as she inspected her opponent. Being one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, her dragon blessing was enormous whereas her opponent's dragon blessing was minuscule. Even if she won, she wouldn't be able to take much dragon blessing. She wanted to increase her True Dragon token's Genius Dragon Providence, so her opponent had to have a bronze token or above, preferably a silver token or above. Only then would she be able to obtain more Genius Dragon Providence. Limitless Wind Sword. The early stage True Human Rank Genius gritted his teeth and condensed a fast vibrating wind blade on his sword as he slashed towards Goddess Bing Wei. Since he had reached the highest stage of the continent, he wouldn't allow himself to admit defeat. Even if his opponent was an overwhelming prodigy. Every genius present was a prodigy of a certain zone and had the hopes of tens of thousands. Extreme Northern Ice Wind. Goddess Bing Wei pointed out and an ice blue light visible to the naked eye swept over the opponent. CC. The True Human Rank Genius's chi of true spirit instantly condensed and froze on the spot. His mouth was wide open, and the divine weapon was still raised in the air. He stood there like an ice sculpture, motionless. Take him away. The sovereign at the Origin Core Realm said, and soon 2 True Lord ranks came up to take care of him. When the defeated Genius True Dragon token split off a wisp of white dragon and merged into Goddess Bing Wei's True Dragon token. Goddess Bing Wei's True Dragon token glowed gold and didn't change at all. She couldn't help but be disappointed. The opponent was too weak and the blessing she received was negligible. At the same time, the battles in the east, west, south, and central zones had all ended in an instant. The middle zone. Unparalleled under the heavens! Yu Tianhao waved his hand, and an unparalleled palm light swept across the sky like a mysterious aurora. It was domineering, suppressing everything in its path. Bam! His opponent, who was at the peak True Human Rank, was sent off the stage with 1 palm. The eastern zone. Tanhai Lanyue's petite figure floated beautifully in the air. She held a 5-colored glass whip in her hand and whipped her opponent away with 1 whip. She came from a beast tamer family and hadn't even sent out her spiritual pet yet. The western zone. A giant man, as tall as copper and iron, stood in place like an unshakable mountain. Roar! With a roar, an opponent at the true mystic rank spat out blood and fainted. One of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Shi Qingtian. the southern zone. A two-headed, four-armed Siamese was standing on the arena, laughing with a jia sound. Let me. No, let me do it. The conjoined human had two heads. Their faces were filled with excitement as they argued with each other. One body, a total of two heads, each controlling a saber and a sword. They were Taiyun Shuangzi, one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Heaven Astral 9 Flame Blade. Earth Fiend Ice Soul Sword. The blade and sword shot out, and a terrifying aura of fire and ice swept over. The true human Rankyu's body trembled, and he couldn't even raise his thoughts. Boom! The late-stage true human Rankyu screamed as his body was instantly twisted into pieces and blood splattered everywhere. Ah! See! The 100,000 spectators all took in a cold breath. Chapter 346. The geniuses of the southern domain ring were dumbfounded and shivering in fear. Many people exclaimed, and there was even the screams of girls. The tens of thousands of spectators all took in a cold breath. Someone's dead! This Taiyun Shuangzi is so cruel that he killed a genius in front of everyone. The geniuses of the southern stage exclaimed. Following this, many people started to criticize. Judge! Taiyun Shuangzi purposely killed someone, and according to the rules, he should be kicked out of the sacred True Dragon battlefield. Someone in the audience suggested. The competition in the sacred True Dragon gathering was cruel, and there had been deaths before. The Sacred Alliance also valued geniuses. After all, the geniuses participating were prodigies, and only 1 or 2 would appear out of billions of people. Therefore, the sacred True Dragon gathering had a rule that one couldn't purposely kill someone, especially when the opponent admitted defeat. An expert at the peak True Mystic rank roared in anger. Sacred Alliance, this brat should be killed or at least disqualified according to the rules. Bullshit! How would we know he was this weak? He couldn't even take one move. How can this be considered purposely killing someone? According to the rules, killing someone before they admit defeat isn't against the rules. That brat didn't admit defeat. Taiyun Shuangzi's 2 heads spoke in a weird tone, cunning and fearless. Obviously, they had a thorough understanding of the rules of the competition. The instant Taiyun Shuangzi attacked, his powerful true spirit aura suppressed the opponent. The opponent was killed before they could even react. Putting aside those at the true human rank, most true mystic ranks would be instantly killed. This Taiyun Shuangzi is a newly ascended overwhelming prodigy, and his cultivation has reached the late stages of the true human rank. He has 2 heads and 4 hands, and when he fights, it's like 2 true human rank teaming up. He's invincible against those under the true lord rank. Taiyun Shuangzi is indeed worthy of being Yu Tianhao's greatest opponent. More spectators and geniuses were stunned by Taiyun Shuangzi's terrifying strength. At this point in time, facing the protests of many people, the judge from the southern stage said emotionlessly, Taiyun Shuangzi, one warning. 1/10 of your dragon blessing will be taken away. After speaking, the judge waved the true dragon flag in his hand. Whoosh! Taiyun Shuangzi had lost the 10th of his dragon blessing, and the true dragon token's glow dimmed a bit. The draconic providence was dispersed into the bodies of the geniuses of the southern region. I gained some dragon luck out of the blue. Prince Jean revealed a smile, and the silver light on his true dragon token became a bit brighter. Damn it! How could you do this? We didn't kill them on purpose. It's just that our opponents were too weak. The 2 heads of Taiyun Shuangzi gritted their teeth unwillingly. Sacred True Dragon gathering rules, purposely killing and taking away the rules. If you kill someone unintentionally or lose control, you will be deprived of 1/10 of your genius dragon luck. The venerable judge was indifferent. The sacred True Dragon gathering had a complete set of rules. Taiyun Shuangzi was an overwhelming prodigy, and the Sacred Alliance's sentence was considered light. Boss, looks like we can't go on a killing spree. The second brother of Taiyun Shuangzi said. Zhizhe, the sacred True Dragon gathering doesn't forbid killing, but it doesn't forbid crippling. Taiyun Shuangzi licked his lips cunningly. Xi and Wuhing stood in the crowd with a solemn expression. If these conjoined bodies specialize in combined attacks, then their battle power will probably double. Xi and Wuhing, Prince Jin and company were sent to the southern region's arena with Taiyuan Shuangzi. After this battle, the geniuses of the southern region's arena trembled and maintained their distance from Taiyuan Shuangzi. Many people made up their minds that if their luck wasn't good and they met Taiyuan Shuangzi, it would be best to admit defeat. Ancient Colosseum. The battle of the 5 regions proceeded in an orderly manner. Every battle was guided by the true dragon token, and the two went up the stage to fight. The rules of the sacred true dragon gathering didn't look at how many battles you won, but how much dragon blessing you had accumulated. Northern Region's Arena. After Goddess Bingwei's victory, more geniuses went up to fight. According to previous years' experience, this process would last for almost 10 days. After all, there were several hundred geniuses in each domain. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and closed his eyes, paying attention to the sacred true dragon gathering. The majority of his attention was focused on comprehension. With my current strength, the chances of me reaching the top 20 are minuscule. Zhao Feng didn't give up and used every second to increase his strength. In his mind, the lightning inheritance and mystic flower treasured Bible continued to clash, and the degree of fusion increased. The second level of the ball of Ice Soul power of Ice Soul had been comprehended by Zhao Feng, and his progress in the ancient Tao of the Soul was steady. Apart from that, the Dark Eye Incomplete page allowed Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye to widen his horizons and give him new ideas. After several months of comprehension, Zhao Feng's mental energy level was comparable to the true mystic rank. Within the dimension of his left eye, the faint blue freezing pond had reached a diameter of 1 yard and the ripples were more active than before. Zhao Feng felt that the mental energy source he could use had more than doubled and the power of the Eye Soul was stronger. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng opened his eyes and watched a battle. Although he was comprehending, he still paid attention to the outside world. It wasn't strange for the god's spiritual eye to multitask at this level. The northern stage. Beimois stood on the stage and took a deep breath. Dark blue ripples surged around his body, and rippling water snakes surrounded his body, attacking his opponent in a lifelike manner. "Brat, give up!" A man in a red robe snickered as balls of flames appeared in his palm and exploded on Beimois' body like a blooming red lotus. The red-robed man's cultivation had reached the early stages of the true human rank and was slightly higher than Beimois'. Although Beimois' dark water inheritance was strong, the geniuses of the sacred true dragon gathering all had stronger backgrounds than him. The red-robed man in front of him had a cultivation technique that countered his own. The latter's chi of true spirit was denser, and his cultivation technique was profound, stronger than his. 30 moves later, Beimois was pushed back by the red-robed man. The stage was 10 miles wide and Beimois was able to hold on due to his defense. The dark water inheritance is nothing in the sacred true dragon gathering. Even my lightning inheritance can only be ranked in the middle. Luckily, I merged the essence of the mystic flower treasured Bible. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. It wasn't that Beimois' dark water inheritance wasn't strong, but that the geniuses of the sacred true dragon gathering were all prodigies of the heavens. Compared to them, the cloud area was just a small village. "Brat, if you don't admit defeat, it won't break the rules even if I kill you." The red-robed man took out a scarlet-red dragonwood sword and with one slash, a flaming dragon light tore through the dark blue ripple around Beimois. Wah! Beimois spat out a mouthful of blood and was heavily injured as the red-robed man closed in. Dark water turning to ice. Beimois' eyes went red and the true dragon chi within his body started to burn and change. Beimois' entire body was covered in a dark blue ripple. It turned from liquid to ice and cold air surged out. Using the dark water turning to ice skill, Beimois released a terrifying power. This was the strongest attack of the dark water inheritance. Shwa! The red-robed man was left with a bloody wound by the dark blue ice sword. The coldness corroded and solidified, and he cried out in alarm as he retreated. If it wasn't for the fact that I had taken the Spirit Burst pill and entered the true spirit realm, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend one of the two strongest laws of the dark water inheritance. Baemwa took a deep breath and ice water surrounded him. Every attack was accompanied by an explosion of ice light. His fist seemed to contain layers of ice mountains, and his battle power rose dramatically. 50 moves later. Shwa! Baemwa's palm sent the red-robed man flying with the afterimage of an icy mountain. I won! Baemwa wiped the blood from his mouth as his blood boiled. His expressionless face was filled with excitement and insanity. On the highest stage of the continent, Baemwa didn't want to leave his name behind, he just wanted to shine. After winning, Baemwa's true dragon token took a wisp of dragon blessing, and although it was still a blank piece of paper, it became brighter. It's hard to imagine that Baemwa's strength can barely make it into the top 10. Zhao Feng nodded his head in his heart. Although it would be hard for Baemwa to reach the top 300 with his strength, his background was perfect. Northern Stage. The battle was abnormally intense and round after round continued. Until a certain moment. Zhao Feng's true dragon token hummed and pointed towards the stage. It's my turn. Zhao Feng's heart was filled with excitement. Even with his calm personality, he couldn't help but be excited about the first battle. Shwa! Shwa! Zhao Feng turned into an afterimage and landed on the southern stage. The opponent was an azure-clothed youth with a firm gaze. He held a low-grade spiritual grade blade and his chi of true spirit was released. I can't lose the first battle. Gao Ping tightly gripped his blade as his blood boiled and his chi of true spirit flowed like a river. He stared at the blue-haired youth in front of him and thoughts flashed through his mind. Before I left, the elders of the strong country had high hopes for me. After 20 years of hard work, I've defeated many geniuses from the strong country to reach this step. If I lose the first battle to someone of the same cultivation, how can I face the geniuses I've defeated? Gao Peng's battle intent in true spirit aura had reached a peak. Not even 20 years of age and at the early stages of the true spirit realm. Zhao Feng silently stared at the youth in front of him. The latter's talent and potential were all top tier. Zhao Feng didn't underestimate the first battle. Blade of Lightning. A blade formed from lightning formed in Zhao Feng's palm. It was 1 yard long and the power of lightning was terrifying. Flying crane cloud splitting blade. Battle intent surged in Gao Peng's eyes as he roared. His figure became as light as a crane as he merged with the blade and slashed through the air. The agile movement skill and the tyrannical blade of lightning were both strange and abrupt, yet perfectly fused together. The instant the blade was unleashed, the chi of true spirit surged like a flood and the blade radiated a blinding light that covered a radius of dozens of yards. Flying crane cleaving cloud saber, what a profound saber technique concept. Any opponent in the sacred true dragon gathering, even if they're of the same cultivation, has strength that can't be underestimated. Zhao Feng was shocked. Shwa! Zhao Feng's body was instantly obliterated by the lightning-cleaving saber. Chapter 347. Zhao Feng's body was like a piece of paper that was slashed apart. Below the northern stage, Baemwa, Dong Shui and company's hearts jumped. With Brother Zhao's strength, it's impossible for him to lose so quickly. Baemwa shook his head. Right at this moment, the victor had been decided on the northern stage. Wu! Gao Peng's figure paused in midair. His body was surrounded by electric chains, and his body kept spasming. At some point, a blue-haired young man appeared with his arms crossed and his back facing Gao Peng. Electric chains wrapped around Gao Peng tightly like snakes. Plop! Gao Peng fell from the sky. His body was charred black and numb. What a weird movement skill! The use of the power of lightning and thunder is marvelous and unpredictable. Exclamations came from the northern stage. At the very least, Zhao Feng's speed and usage of lightning made most people sigh in admiration. Deciding victory in one move wasn't common in the sacred true dragon gathering and only happened with the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The sovereign judge waved the true dragon flag and declared Zhao Feng's victory. Instantly, a portion of Gao Peng's dragon blessing merged into Zhao Feng's body. When Zhao Feng's true dragon token was still a whiteboard, but the true dragon carving on it was brighter and clearer. After winning the first battle, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing had increased by several fold. This was mainly because his dragon blessing was low and anyone he beat would increase his dragon blessing. "Brother Qin, this blue-haired brat might be a dark horse." A peaked true human rank square-faced youth below the northern stage couldn't help but exclaim. The square-faced youth had noticed Zhao Feng the moment he stepped onto the stage mainly because of Zhao Feng's blue hair and faint blue left eye. Due to looking closely, the square-faced youth found that Zhao Feng's usage of lightning and movement was incredible. Not bad, but not a dark horse. In previous sacred true dragon gatherings, only those that win at least 10 battles in a row can be considered a dark horse. Brother Qin said faintly. This senior Brother Qin was in his 30s, and he was dressed like a weak scholar. He stood in the crowd, but many geniuses admired and complimented him. "This guy is Qin Kunwa, and he comes from one of the 10 great clans, the Heavenly Book Pavilion. In the last sacred true dragon gathering, he fought Mo Tianyi to a draw and placed higher." Xia Xianshang from the 10,000 Sword Clan said solemnly. On the northern stage, apart from Xiao Feng, Dong Shui, Bei Mua and Wang Xiaoguai, there were also Xia Xianshang and others. Of course, both Xia Xianshang and Qin Kunwu were of the top in the sacred true dragon of the sacred true dragon. Below the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bingwei were Qin Kunwu, Xia Xianshang, and the ghost-eyed man with a pure silver true dragon token. Dong Shui analyzed. She and Zhao Feng both came from the Iron Blood religion and had gathered a lot of information. In reality, Zhao Feng didn't need her to say anything and could understand with a scan of his god's spiritual eye. As long as he sensed the strength of each person's true dragon token, he could analyze the current situation. Qin Kunwu, Xia Xianshang, and the ghost-eyed man did indeed give Zhao Feng a strong pressure just below goddess Bingwei. "What's the situation with the ghost-eyed man?" Zhao Feng's eye bloodline sensed something. "I heard that he comes from one of the 3 great eye bloodline families, the Wu family." Dong Shui looked towards the ghost-eyed man and said uncertainly. After all, this was her first time participating in the sacred true dragon gathering. When Zhao Feng and company inspected the ghost-eyed man, the latter seemed to sense something, and a pair of gray eyes flashed coldly as he suddenly scanned over. Suddenly the geniuses in this area felt their hairs stand on end and their bodies went cold as if they had stepped into a grave of white bones. Dong Shui's body trembled in fear, and she couldn't even spit out a single word. Even someone as strong as Zhao Feng felt his body go cold, and found it hard to breathe. He even felt a sliver of danger. The ghost-eyed man's ghost-eye bloodline gave off an ancient and dark aura that could corrode the physical world. What a strong eye bloodline! This was the first time Zhao Feng had seen such a strong eye bloodline. It was more than 10 times stronger than Lin Tong. "Zhizhi, I didn't think there would be such a strong eye bloodline apart from the 3 great eye families. Unfortunately for you." The ghost-eyed man could obviously sense Zhao Feng's eye bloodline and shook his head regretfully. He admitted that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline wasn't bad, but he didn't have a good opinion of it. When Zhao Feng touched the ghost-eye bloodline, he felt a cold, corrosive aura that was about to enter his god's spiritual eye. Pung pung! Pung pung! The god's spiritual eye twitched and felt a sense of danger. In the dimension of his left eye, a gray aura appeared in the freezing pond, which made Zhao Feng feel like it was being corroded. Destroy! Zhao Feng circulated his mental energy source, and the freezing pond extended, and a terrifying power of ice extinguished the dark aura. Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged and let out a long breath. The ghost-eyed man's eye bloodline was indeed terrifying. No wonder he came from one of the 3 great eye families. This person's strength isn't any weaker than Mo Tianyi. Zhao Feng calmed himself down. Analyzing the current situation of the northern zone, the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bingwei was definitely unrivaled. Next was Qin Kunwu, Xia Xianshang, and the ghost-eyed man. Even Zhao Feng didn't have a high chance of winning. As for the people below, even if they were at the true mystic rank, Zhao Feng had a certain chance of winning. Chapter leader, that guy's attacked! Dong Shui suddenly exclaimed. Zhao Feng looked over and saw the ghost-eyed man standing on the northern zone. His opponent was a peaked true human rank golden-robed man. Ghost-eye soul burning. The ghost-eyed man snickered. His pair of ghost eyes glowed with a gloomy gray light. Shwa! The golden-robed man screamed as his blood boiled and spat out a mouthful of blood. Immediately after that, the brocade-robed man screamed in pain as cold sweat dripped from his body and rolled off the stage. The judge waved the true dragon flag. The ghost-eyed man murmured to himself, "If it wasn't for the fact that killing people would take away the dragon blessing." It was obvious that he had held back just then. Taiyun Shuangzi from before had killed his opponent, and not only did he not get any dragon blessing, some of it was taken away instead. When the ghost-eyed man attacked, Xiao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto him. Combining the flame of true spirit with the eye bloodline creates a ghost eye flame that burns the opponent's soul. Zhao Feng analyzed the theory behind the ghost-eyed man's eye bloodline. However, being able to analyze the theory didn't mean that Zhao Feng could instantly copy it. Zhao Feng could only use the techniques and secret techniques related to bloodlines as reference. Because everyone's bloodline was different, the bloodline might be suitable for others, but it didn't mean that it was suitable for him. However, the flame of true spirit can usually be formed when one reaches the true spirit realm. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and his consciousness entered his dantian. At the core of his dantian was the source of true spirit, which was of the lightning element. Zhao Feng circulated his chi of true spirit according to the lightning inheritance, and used the mystic flower treasured Bible as a reference. Chio! In the depths of the source of true spirit, wisps of flames the size of soybeans started to flicker with lightning. This wasn't a normal flame of true spirit, it was a true spirit lightning flame. After reaching the true spirit realm, Zhao Feng hadn't paid much attention to the flame of true spirit. After all, he didn't plan on walking the path of forging. However, at this moment, the true spirit lightning flame in his dantian gave off an aura that made Zhao Feng's heart jump. Using the true spirit lightning flame as a primer and merging with the god's spiritual eye, can I activate the lightning fire god's eye? Zhao Feng soon had an idea. After all, he had read the Dark Eye Forbidden page and had enough knowledge of eye bloodline techniques. Firstly, Zhao Feng needed a bridge to connect the god's spiritual eye and the true spirit lightning flame together. This bridge was the chilling pale blue blood in his body. A while later, the faint blue blood turned into spider silk that reached the freezing pond in the dimension of his left eye and the true spirit lightning flame in his dantian. Time passed by quickly. Zhao Feng kept on trying and researching. After failing time and time again, he was close to success. When suddenly, the true dragon token on Zhao Feng's body sensed something and pointed towards the northern stage. "It's my turn." Zhao Feng reluctantly sat up. His experiments and research were already very close to success. Once the lightning fire god's eye succeeded, it would be an extremely powerful eye bloodline technique that would not only attack the soul but also the mental energy and physical world. Northern stage. Zhao Feng went up for the second time. His opponent this time was a late-stage true human rank golden armored male. The golden armored male had a wary expression as he circulated his chi of true spirit to defend against Zhao Feng's unfathomable speed. The first time Zhao Feng went up, his speed made most of the geniuses in the northern stage sigh in admiration. Against fast people, I need to strengthen my defense and use silence to win. The golden armored male had a smile on his face after consolidating his defense. His cultivation was higher than Zhao Feng's and he believed that as long as he defended, he would have a high chance of winning. However, this time, Zhao Feng didn't win with speed like he had imagined. Eye of illusion. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and his left eye seemed to extend into a bottomless pond. Plop! In less than a breath, the golden armored male half knelt on the ground covered in cold sweat with a face of humiliation and shock. Hua! The northern stage broke out into chaos. Some peaked true human rank and even true mystic rank geniuses were moved. The ghost-eyed male revealed a slightly weird expression. Looks like he doesn't completely know I bloodline techniques. When Zhao Feng's true dragon token had taken more dragon blessing than last time and the true dragon carving on it was clearer and brighter. However, it was still a distance away from the bronze true dragon token. After winning, Zhao Feng immediately returned to his original position and sat down cross-legged. In the dimension of his left eye, he quickly searched and tried. Slowly but surely, Zhao Feng's left eye would flash with azure lightning, and there seemed to be a transparent flame flashing in the core. Chapter 348. Within Zhao Feng's body, the faint blue blood turned into a bridge that entered the dimension of his left eye and merged with the source of true spirit within his dantian. Sizzles of true spirit lightning flame formed within his source of true spirit, and successfully merged with the freezing pond within the dimension of his left eye. The freezing pond wasn't just a source of mental energy, it was also the core secret of Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye. Even after several transformations, it was still a mystery. The true spirit lightning flame and the frigid pond had temporarily merged together after many tries. A faint azure lightning flame flashed across Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye, but it disappeared in an instant. At this point in time, the eye flame technique that Zhao Feng had stolen from the ghost-eyed man had formed an outline. The eyes are, after all, the most fragile part of the human body. This eye flame is only suitable for instant use and isn't suitable for continuous use. If it's a normal eye, it's impossible. Zhao Feng understood. This meant that those without a powerful eye bloodline wouldn't be able to cultivate this eye flame technique even if they understood it. This was because the eyes of normal people were too fragile and couldn't withstand this eye flame. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye had formed and its offensive power surpassed the three eye techniques he had already comprehended. At the moment, the eye techniques that Zhao Feng had comprehended were the eye of illusion, eye of eye soul, and eye of heart. Amongst them, the eye of eye soul was the most corrosive and specialized in locking onto targets. Zhao Feng normally wouldn't use it easily. On the other hand, the lightning fire god's eye was definitely comparable to the eye of eye soul. The lightning fire god's eye can't be used easily, or else it'll easily burn the opponent's soul and cause excessive killing. Furthermore, this eye technique will place a heavy burden on the god's spiritual eye. Zhao Feng felt slightly regretful. He had just comprehended the lightning fire god's eye and his control wasn't good enough. Due to this, whenever the ghost-eyed man went up to fight, Zhao Feng would open his god's spiritual eye and secretly learn a thing or two. Ghost eye soul burn. The ghost-eyed man's ghost eyes glowed with a dark gray light. A peaked true human rank screamed and fell to the ground, rolling on the ground as if he was being tortured. The ghost-eyed man's ghost eye soul burn was controlled precisely, if not it would easily cause the enemy's soul to dissipate. Anyone that lost to him would be injured mentally and wouldn't be able to recover from the sacred true dragon gathering. They would never be able to obtain a good ranking. Therefore, the ghost-eyed man became a taboo in the northern zone. Many geniuses did not dare to fight against him. The Wu family is indeed one of the three-eye bloodline families in the continent. Both Qin Kunwu and Xia Xianshang looked solemn. Their strength was on the same level as Emotieni, but they were wary of the ghost-eyed man. The heirs of the three-eye bloodline families are all here. Tuoba family, Wu family, Chiu family. Qin Kunwu couldn't help but look around. Under normal circumstances, unless one was an overwhelming heaven's favorite, no one would want to run into the heirs of the three-eye clans. This was because the attacks of an eye bloodline were extremely strange and hard to defend against. Look, it's the successor of the Tuoba family on the Eastern region arena. Many geniuses' gazes turned to the Eastern stage. The overwhelming prodigy of the Eastern stage was Tan Lanwei, and she had always looked down on the others. At this moment in time, the successor of the Tuoba family appeared on the Eastern stage. Tuoba Chi! He's from one of the three-eye bloodline families. Many gazes landed on the handsome youth. Tuoba Chi's opponent was a beautiful pink-clothed female. Dai Yi. Chao Feng, Dong Shui, Jiang Sanfeng and company's expressions changed slightly. Heavenly piercing eye. Tuo Bachi's ordinary eyes suddenly shone with a cold glint. Shwa! A bloody gash appeared on Dai Ye's pretty face, extending all the way to her snow-white neck. I admit defeat. Dai Ye's expression changed dramatically as her voice trembled and her face was full of fear. Back then, she had chased after the fan-flying bandit with Zhao Feng, and her strength was close to the peak true human rank. However, at this moment, Dai Yi didn't even have the ability to fight back. The heavenly piercing eyes attack could slice through the enemy's throat in an instant. It was impossible to dodge. The heavenly piercing eye is still so strong. If I meet him, both of us will be heavily injured. The ghost-eyed man's expression was solemn. Of course. At this stage of the Battle of Five Zones, battles were only limited to within the arena and couldn't cross over to other arenas. There were hundreds of geniuses on the same stage, and the chances of them meeting each other were small. The heavenly piercing eyes attack is so strong. And it's leaning towards the physical world. Zhao Feng clucked his tongue in his heart. Tuo Bachi's heavenly piercing eye was too fast, and Zhao Feng didn't even have time to lock onto it. Furthermore, the opponent's heavenly piercing eye was of the wind element, and even if Zhao Feng copied it, he wouldn't be able to use it. Northern Stage. The duels continued, one round after another. Goddess Bingwei was unrivaled and had always won in one move. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng had already fought 5 times and won 5 in a row. Bei Moi won 2 and lost 3. Dong Shui lost all 5 and was crying. Wang Xiaoguai had also won 5 in a row and became more and more courageous. Being able to obtain 5 consecutive victories in the 5 arenas was already an extraordinary achievement. Of course, below the overwhelming prodigies, Qin Kunwu, Xia Xianshang, and the ghost-eyed man had won all 5 battles. The 7th battle. Zhao Feng went up once again and his opponent was a peak true human rank black-robed youth. The token in his hand glowed with a faint silver light. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's true dragon token only glowed with a faint bronze color. Hee, young man, your winning record ends here. The black-robed youth smiled faintly. The youth in front of him was the strongest opponent Zhao Feng had faced so far. The color of the token could be used to measure one's strength. Black Crow Li Qingyun. This person is called the Black Crow and his speed is like a ghost. This guy only entered the top 300 in the last Sacred True Dragon Gathering, but his battle power has exploded this time, and he's become a black horse. He just beat 2 bronze-colored True Dragon token geniuses. Many people below the northern stage knew the black-robed youth's background. Black Crow Li Qingyun inspected Zhao Feng mockingly. Also on the northern stage, Li Qingyun obviously noticed Zhao Feng, who had also won 6 in a row. It could be said, the two were both black horses of the northern stage. Speed is also my forte, and my cultivation is more than a level higher than yours. The power of my bloodline is greatly reduced. Black Crow Li Qingyun's expression was relaxed, but he was secretly concentrating. Shwa! With a blur, Li Qingyun disappeared. The next instant, a black-winged male appeared in the air and summoned a black mist. Shwa! Shwa! At the same time, several black figures appeared around Zhao Feng. In terms of speed, Li Qingyun was even faster than some early-stage True Mystic ranks. Those under the True Mystic rank are useless. Zhao Feng suddenly opened his god's spiritual eye and locked onto a black figure. Eye of Ice Soul. His faint blue left eye turned into a bottomless pond and an invisible power of Ice Soul seeped into his mental energy world. The Black Crow, Li Yunqing, was as fast as a ghost. The Black Crow's figure froze. Suddenly, he seemed to fall into an endless realm of ice and the coldness from his mental energy consciousness invaded his mind. Li Yunqing's mental energy consciousness was eroded by a layer of ice-blue light, and even his thoughts seemed to be frozen. At this point in time, he, who specialized in speed, seemed to have dementia and his reactions and actions were as slow as a snail. Not only that, his mental energy consciousness was eroded and attacked by the power of Ice Soul and almost fell into a deep slumber. Bam! Zhao Feng raised his foot and kicked Li Yunqing out of the northern stage. The moment he landed on the ground, he was still shivering nonstop. His thoughts and actions had become incredibly slow. Luckily, I stopped fast. Zhao Feng broke out in cold sweat. After his mental energy level increased, the Eye of Ice Soul's eroding power became more terrifying. This eroding and attacking the soul was extremely dangerous, and could even lead to murder. After winning 7 times in a row, the token in Zhao Feng's hand turned into a pure bronze color, and its draconic providence became stronger. After defeating Black Crow Li Yunqing, Zhao Feng became a powerful black horse in the northern stage. 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins. Zhao Feng's battle record kept unchanging and the bronze true dragon token became brighter. Apart from the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei and Qin Kunwu and company from the first tier, everyone else looked at the blue-haired youth with respect or wariness. Of course, Zhao Feng wasn't the only black horse in this sacred true dragon gathering. Just the northern stage alone didn't just have Zhao Feng, there was also Wang Xiaoguai and a few others. At the same time, many dark horses had appeared in the eastern region, western region, southern region, and central region. In the southern zone, Xian Wuheng, Lu Qinxin and company had always won and even defeated some of the previous geniuses. This was especially so for Xian Wuheng, who fought with one hand and casually defeated his opponent. In the western zone, there were also a few black horses. One of them was a female sword user who defeated her opponent in one move. That was Tsang Yue. At the same time, in the eastern zone, Zhao Yufei had become one of the 4 black horses and received much attention. In the air above the arena, the sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance watched the battles on the 5 zones. Worthy of being at the peak of dozens of eras. In the past, there would only be a few dark horses. This time, there are actually 10 or 20 of them. The sovereigns all nodded their heads. The bronze-skinned giant in the middle, the deputy palace master, looked at the stone statue mountains around the arena. The genius dragon luck is still increasing, and it's still going strong. There were many majestic stone statues around the arena. Every single one of them was a mythical character from ancient times and modern times. They gave off traces of mysterious auras, and the charm on their faces seemed to change as they watched the battle in the arena. Wang. A few of the majestic stone statues even gave off the illusion that they were swaying, and an invisible aura was rising. Look! One of the sovereigns gazed at the top of the ancient arena. At some point in time, several transparent phantoms had appeared in the clouds. The phantom was like a blurry motion picture, with palaces, pavilions, and mountains and rivers visible. It was like a mirage. So fast! There's already signs of the inheritances connecting to the continent? Unbelievable! The sacred true dragon gathering is only at the early stages. Usually, the inheritances would only appear at the mid to late stages. The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance were all shocked. Chapter 349. From the aura of the inheritance projection, this inheritance isn't bad, but it's still far from the 4 great inheritances. The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord gazed at the clouds above the ancient arena. The inheritance projection appeared so early. As the dragon blessing increases, there'll definitely be more than 1 or 2 inheritances that can connect. That's right, it's already good if 1 or 2 inheritances appear at the end. If it's too bad, there might not even be one. The members of the Sacred Alliance were very experienced. At this moment in time, their eyes were filled with anticipation and joy. A total of 9 sovereigns sat on the stage and watched the battle below. The battle of the 5 regions was only the first round of the competition. It would be held in different regions. When geniuses clashed with other geniuses, they would ignite their potential and turn it into dragon blessing. The more dark horses that appeared in the ancient arena, the faster the dragon blessing would grow. During the battle, one's bloodline, talent, battle intent, potential, and youthful fighting spirit would be stimulated time and time again, causing profound changes to occur in the ancient Colosseum. The ancient Colosseum was surrounded by a mountain of stone statues. The majestic statues were emitting a formless aura that was becoming more and more obvious. The northern stage. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and felt as if he was being watched by the stone statue mountains. Those majestic stone statues were like ancient gods in slumber, gazing at the competition in the arena. They were either praising or disdainful. As long as I don't meet the overwhelming prodigies, Qin Kunwu, the ghost-eyed man, and Xia Xianshang, I'll be able to increase my dragon blessing. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. There were 600 to 700 geniuses in the northern stage, and it wasn't easy to meet someone. However, the sacred true dragon gathering had another rule. If you wanted to challenge a genius, it wasn't impossible. However, if you failed, you would lose double the normal dragon blessing, and if your opponent lost, you would only lose half the normal dragon blessing. Furthermore, each person only had 3 chances to challenge him. Normally, no one would be willing to do such a thankless task. Even the 5 overwhelming prodigies wouldn't do it easily. Only at the last moment would they try to catch up to their dragon blessing. Everything is up to fate. Zhao Feng listened to the true dragon token and fought whoever he met. So far, his luck wasn't bad. He didn't run into a heaven's favorite, nor did he run into the top 3 of the first tier. 10 consecutive victories. 11 consecutive victories. 12 consecutive victories. Zhao Feng's battle record grew again and again. Zhao Feng could instantly kill anyone under the true mystic rank, and the rest of his time was spent on comprehension. This segment of the 5 regions competition would normally last from 10 days to half a month, or even longer. After more than 10 rounds of fighting, the situation in the northern arena became clearer. From top to bottom, the strongest was naturally the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bingwei. Next were the 3 strongest people of the first tier, Qin Kunwu, the ghost-eyed man, and Xia Xianshang. These 3 were all on par with Mo Tianyi. Zhao Feng could lose to any one of them. After that were the normal first tier, and all of them were at the true mystic rank. There were 5 or 6 of them. Finally, the special case was the Dark Horse Genius. The so-called Dark Horse Geniuses didn't participate in the last sacred True Dragon gathering, and their True Dragon tokens started to form. 4 true Dark Horse Geniuses had appeared in the northern zone: Bing Shuiwei, Hong Zhan, Zhao Feng, and Wang Xiaoguai. These 4 Dark Horse Geniuses had won more than 10 consecutive victories. They started from 0 and overcame all obstacles along the way. The 4 Dark Horses of the Northern Zone had the strength to reach the first tier or were comparable to the ordinary first tier, but there was a clear difference between them and the top 3 of the first tier. There are actually 4 Dark Horses in a mere North region arena, Qin Kunwu murmured, slightly surprised. Hee, brother Qin, I didn't misjudge. That blue-haired youth is indeed a Dark Horse. The square-faced youth smiled faintly. Humph, of the 4 Dark Horses, Bing Shuiwei and Hong Zhan are at the initial stages of the true mystic rank and have some strength. Especially Bing Shuiwei, she's goddess Bingwei's sister and might be able to threaten me. As for Zhao Feng and Wang Xiaoguai, they're at the early and late stages of the true human rank. No matter how strong their bloodlines are, they won't be able to do much, Qin Kunwu said casually. Not necessarily. The feeling this Zhao Feng gives me is that his strength isn't limited. However, Bing Shuiwei is indeed strong. The square-faced youth shook his head. At the same time, a 17 or 18-year-old girl in a snow-white robe stepped onto the northern region's arena. Her face was as beautiful as peerless jade, cold and aloof. This girl was an icy beauty. Her body exuded a strange, blood-curdling cold air. This Bing Shuiwei has already won 19 in a row. Apart from goddess Bingwei, she's the strongest woman of the northern zone. The crowd below were stunned by Bing Shuiwei's beauty and strength. Without meeting goddess Bingwei or the top 3 of the first tier, Bing Shuiwei couldn't even take one move. Zhuzhe, little ice beauty, I've long heard of your mystic ice palace's ice skills. I'd like to learn a thing or two from you. A slightly lecherous pockmarked man walked onto the stage. The pockmarked man's true dragon token gave off a faint silver light, and his cultivation had reached the early stages of the true human rank. It's Ma Tian-san. This guy was ranked 50 to 60 in the last sacred true dragon gathering. He's definitely strong. Zhizhe Bing Shuyu has bitten a hard bone this time. The crowd below were filled with anticipation. On one side was the strongest black horse of the northern zone, and on the other was a true mystic rank expert. Ugly bastard! Lose quickly! Disgust appeared on Bing Shuyue's face. Extreme northern ice wind. Bing Shuyue pushed her hand forward, and a palm-sized ball of icy blue light shot through the air, instantly expanding to the size of a house. The icy wind roared as it rushed towards Ma Tian-san. Goddess Bing Wei had used this move before and had frozen her opponents instantly. Zhizhe. Little beauty, don't be in such a rush. Big brother will definitely satisfy you. Ma Tian-san smiled cunningly as he released his chi of true spirit and connected with the heaven-earth yuan chi. He waved his arm and dozens of dark gray streaks of light shot towards Bing Shuyue. Boom! The clash of the true mystic rank caused the gray and icy light to explode into tens of thousands of pieces that swept across everything within a mile radius. Xiao Shua! Bing Shuyue was forced back by the chaotic wave of air. Ma Tiansan's cultivation was higher than hers, and although he looked arrogant, his attacks were extremely cunning. Those at the true mystic rank had reached the second stage of the true spirit realm and had comprehended their root of law. Their attacks could summon the heaven-earth yuan chi, and their range and power were much higher than those at the true human rank. Simply put, it meant that skills and the heaven-earth yuan chi were compatible and resonated. For example, Bing Shuyue's attacks could summon the heaven-earth yuan chi from the outside world apart from her own chi of true spirit. The true mystic rank's chi of true spirit is higher in quality and quantity than those at the true human rank, but the essence is the same. The only difference is that those who have comprehended the root of law have the ability to absorb and recover yuan chi, as well as the range and power of their attacks, far surpassing those at the true human rank. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye had gained a lot from watching the battle between the true mystic ranks. While paying attention, he simulated it in the dimension of his left eye and compared it with his lightning inheritance. Ice Wind Phoenix Flight! Bing Shuyue shouted. Her hands glowed, and the cold wind in the air took the shape of an ice phoenix. It was majestic, and there seemed to be some kind of ancient bloodline strengthening it. Fuck! That girl's gone crazy! Ma Tian-san roared as a spirit armament appeared in his hand, and he slashed out a gray saber projection that was around 3 m wide. The saber projection extended into a river that was over 100 meters long, and it didn't dissipate at all as it flew up and down. For a moment, the icy wind that resembled an ice phoenix's roar intertwined with the dark gray saber light's torrential river, clashing violently again and again. The terrifying shockwaves from the battle extended from 1 kilometer to more than 2 kilometers in radius. The shockwaves from their battle could almost destroy a small village. The hearts of the geniuses below shook. Normal true human rank cultivators would have been ripped to shreds if they were caught in their battle. The strength of the true mystic rank is indeed strong. My mental energy level is comparable to the true mystic rank, and if I want to form the root of law, theoretically possible. Zhao Feng first sighed at Bing Shuyue and Ma Tiansan's battle power, and then found that his mental energy level was comparable to the true mystic rank. Apart from the quality and quantity of the chi of true spirit, the true mystic rank was much stronger than the true human rank. The symbol of the true mystic rank was to comprehend the heaven and earth, and form the root of law. In essence, it was to nurture the comprehended state into a seed, a root of profundity that could communicate with heaven and earth. The seed formed from comprehension was the source of true spirit. This was because the source of true spirit was the foundation of a cultivation technique. It absorbed the heaven-earth yuan chi of the corresponding element, and condensed it within the body. In theory, as long as one's cultivation reached a certain level, the seed could evolve and form a root of law that connected to the heaven and earth. Suddenly, a terrifying thought and a shocking plan appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. We only have 10 days. Can we succeed or not? Once I succeed, my cultivation will be comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank, and I'll be able to reach the top 10. I'll even have the chance to fight against the overwhelming prodigies. Zhao Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. Thinking to the end, his entire body started to tremble. In theory, his idea and plan had a chance of being realized. The key was whether Zhao Feng could form his own root of law before the final battle. Boom! Crack! A deafening explosion sounded out from the northern zone arena as layers of icy mountain silhouettes appeared in the air and engulfed Ma Tiansan with an unstoppable chill. Bam! Ma Tiansan was thrown off the northern stage and almost turned into a popsicle as he trembled with shock. You've only reached the true mystic rank not long ago, and your root of law is comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. You must have obtained the essence of the mystic ice inheritance. Chapter 350. Northern Stage. This intense battle between true mystic ranks was won by Bing Shuiwei. She's indeed worthy of being the rising star of the Mystic Ice Palace. She beat Ma Tiansan at the early stages of the true mystic rank not long after reaching the true mystic rank. Apparently Bing Shuiwei and Goddess Bing Wei both received the essence of the mystic ice inheritance. The geniuses below couldn't help but sigh. The Mystic Ice Palace's name shook the world, and they controlled one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance, which would open once every few decades. Amongst the 10 great clans, the Mystic Ice Palace's ranking was always high, and there would always be geniuses in every sacred true dragon gathering. This Bing Shuyue's ice cultivation method is much better than my lightning inheritance. Furthermore, she has a powerful ice bloodline. Zhao Feng watched the battle from start to finish and felt Bing Shuyue's terrifying strength. Maybe she had the chance to reach Mo Tianyi and Qin Kunwa's level. Ma Tiansan wasn't weak either and had the chance to reach the top 30. On the northern stage, his strength was only below the top 3. If Zhao Feng faced Ma Tiansan, he wouldn't have the confidence to win, and even if he did win, it would be a hard battle. After this battle, Bing Shuiwei became the number 1 black horse of the northern stage, and even amongst the black horses of the sacred true dragon gathering. Shuiwei, you did well this battle. The overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei revealed a rare smile in her cold eyes. Sister, this is only the first round and I'm already forced to use my bloodline skill. Bing Shuyue's breathing sped up. After all, the battle just now had been won by someone with a higher cultivation level. It was not an easy win for her. However, the bronze true dragon token in her hand had a faint silver true dragon pattern on it, and its draconic providence had increased dramatically. Sister, you need to understand that there are many geniuses in the sacred true dragon gathering that can challenge those stronger than themselves. It wasn't easy for you to use your bloodline skill to beat Ma Tiansan. Goddess Bing Wei stroked her little sister's hair with a trace of love in her eyes. Northern Stage. After more than 20 battles, the situation became clearer. Bing Shuiwei was the leader of the 4 dark horses of the northern region stage, and she had the strongest dragon blessing. Next was Hong Zhan, who was at the initial stages of the true mystic rank and had never been defeated. He had only fought to a draw with an older true mystic rank genius. The 3rd place was Zhao Feng, who had won more than 20 matches in a row. In 4th place was Wang Xiaoguai with 20 consecutive wins. However, Wang Xiaoguai was unlucky and encountered Qin Kunwa in the 22nd match. Qin Kunwa was a legend across the continent, and his ranking in the last sacred true dragon gathering was even higher than Mo Tianyi. Boom! As soon as Wang Xiaoguai went up, he activated his bloodline power. His eyes flashed with a purple-gold light, and his muscles became as hard as metal. His body doubled in size, making him look like a small giant. In that instant, his physical strength had reached a terrifying level and he could crush normal true mystic ranks with his bare hands. Earth-themed Windcloud Staff. Wang Xiuguai swung his gold and silver rod, sending out dozens of rod images that were dozens of feet long, accompanied by a violent purple-azure wind. In terms of battle power, Wang Xiaoguai was comparable to the true mystic rank. His ancient bloodline was extremely unique, and the more injured he was, the stronger his battle power would be. Universe Righteous Qi Technique. Qin Kunwa's eyes were like stars as a vast qi of true spirit surged from his body and connected with the heaven-earth yuan qi. Whoosh! In an instant, the purple starlight that covered the sky and the earth shone brightly for a kilometer. Ta! Qin Kunwa let out a loud roar. The purple star palm force that was as vast as a long river suppressed the demons of heaven and earth. It was filled with an awe-inspiring righteous aura and had the power to sweep through the universe. Wang Xiaoguai's crazily swung rod shadow wind dissipated like dust. Bam! The terrifying power sent Wang Xiaoguai flying and spitting out blood. The difference in strength couldn't be made up for with bloodline and skill. Zhao Feng wasn't surprised at Wang Xiaoguai's loss. After all, his opponent was someone on the same level as Mo Tianyi and had the potential to reach the top 20. Unfortunately, he's too fast. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto Qin Kunwa's qi of true spirit. The root of law was able to connect with the heaven-earth yuan qi and control the heaven-earth yuan qi. However, Qin Kunwa's battle power was stronger than expected and suppressed Wang Xiaoguai in one move. The latter didn't even have a chance. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and immersed his consciousness into his source of true spirit to feel the profundities within. My source of true spirit contains the comprehension of the lightning inheritance, followed by the mystic flower treasured Bible. Zhao Feng analyzed bit by bit. In the ancient arena, he would open his god's spiritual eye to observe whenever a true mystic rank took action. After some observation, he gained new insights and made progress. The root of law is to condense one's comprehension of the heaven-earth into a sprout that can connect with the heaven-earth and borrow its power. Zhao Feng had an idea. The root of law used the source of true spirit as the seed and was nurtured on the mental energy level before connecting with the heaven-earth yuan qi. This way, the cultivator's every move could connect with the heaven-earth yuan qi and greatly increase their strength. Because of the root of law, the true mystic ranks every move seemed to have the help of the god and could connect with the heaven-earth yuan qi. In reality, only those at the true lord rank could directly connect with the heaven-earth yuan qi. Of course, those at the true mystic rank could communicate with the heaven-earth yuan qi at any time, and use even stronger attributes of the yuan qi, giving them the same effect as the heaven-earth yuan qi. After understanding his thoughts, if Zhao Feng wanted to form the root of law, he still needed 2 steps. First, he needed to comprehend the unique intent of the heaven-earth. This intent needed to be strong enough. This was the key, and Zhao Feng was lacking a bit. Secondly, he would use the source of true spirit as a seed to refine the comprehension of the heavens and earth into a root of intent. This was only possible because Zhao Feng's mental energy level was high enough. The most important thing is that I need to combine the lightning inheritance and mystic flower treasured Bible to comprehend a unique intent. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and started to comprehend. In reality, no matter if it was the lightning inheritance or the mystic flower treasured Bible, one could comprehend a root of profundity by just cultivating one. This way, it would be much easier for Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng wanted perfection and had to comprehend the root of law on the basis of the lightning inheritance and mystic flower treasured Bible. This way, the difficulty and complexity of comprehending the root of law was several times that of breaking through to the true mystic rank. Luckily, Zhao Feng wasn't a normal person and had the help of the god's spiritual eye. His mental energy source was extremely strong, and his comprehension and calculation abilities were exceptional. Within his mind, a profound symbol of lightning clashed with the figure of a lotus. At the same time, on Zhao Feng's forehead, a symbol of lightning flashed and seemed to show signs of cracking. With my mental energy level and comprehension, comprehending the root of law isn't hard. The only problem is time. Zhao Feng needed to form his root of law within 10 days to half a month. Only then would he be able to reach a higher rank. Time flew by. Zhao Feng was immersed in his own mental energy world, and the aura of intense would occasionally surround him before disappearing into heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. The 5 regions youth competition continued to clash. On the northern stage, the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei was still unrivaled. Qin Kunwa and the ghost-eyed man had yet to lose. On the other hand, Xia Xianshang was unlucky and only lasted 2 or 3 moves against Goddess Bingwei before losing. On the central stage, unparalleled under the heavens, Yu Tianhao's invincible palm light was like a dazzling and mysterious aurora, crushing everything in its path. Its vast might caused the stage to slightly shake. The faint gold-colored true dragon light patterns on his body emitted faint dragon roars as if he was possessed by a true dragon. Pun! Prince Jean spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent off the stage with a bitter smile. It was unknown if it was an honor or a tragedy to fight the number 1 genius of the continent. His peak true mystic rank cultivation allowed Yu Tianhao to stand at the peak, and his strength was enough to shock those at the true lord rank. Furthermore, unparalleled under the heavens was the pinnacle of the continent, and made many inheritances lose their color. Northern stage. Zhao Feng suddenly opened his eyes. When the true dragon token on his body suddenly shook and pointed towards the northern stage. The 44th battle, it's my turn again. Zhao Feng expressionlessly stood up and landed on the northern stage. 44 wins made Zhao Feng the black horse of the northern stage. At this point in time, the true dragon token in Zhao Feng's hand turned a deep bronze color and had a faint silver tint to it. One reason he was able to obtain such a record was because Zhao Feng was strong, and the other reason was that his luck was decent. The reason why Zhao Feng was lucky was because he hadn't met an overwhelming prodigy or an expert of the first tier. On the contrary, Wang Xiaoguai and Hong Zhan of the 4 black horses of the northern stage had both met strong opponents and lost. Even Bing Shuiwei had met Ma Tiansen, who was a genius of the true mystic rank. Chiu! A cold and beautiful girl in a snow-white robe floated onto the northern arena. Her face was as beautiful as iced jade. The powerful aura of the true mystic rank communicated with the heaven-earth yuan qi and formed a terrifying coldness. See! Zhao Feng hiccuped as the coldness seeped into his bones. Hua! The crowd below the northern stage was filled with expectation and gloating as they looked at Zhao Feng. Looks like my luck isn't that good. Zhao Feng originally wanted to end the battle quickly, but his opponent was the head of the 4 black horses, Bing Shuiwei. Bing Shuiwei, you challenge Zhao Feng, and if you win, you'll only get half of his normal dragon blessing. On the other hand, if you lose, you'll lose twice the normal dragon blessing. The honorable judge said indifferently and reminded them again. I confirm. Bing Shuiwei's cold eyes locked onto Zhao Feng. Hearing this, Zhao Feng was stunned. His meeting with Bing Shuiwei wasn't due to the true dragon token but a challenge from Bing Shuiwei. In principle, the sacred true dragon gathering allowed challenges, but each person only had 3 chances and it wasn't worth it. Why is Bing Shuiwei challenging me? Zhao Feng's heart jumped as his eyes twinkled. Chapter 351. This snow-robed girl in front of him was the strongest opponent Zhao Feng had faced since the start of the sacred true dragon gathering. The key point was that Zhao Feng didn't meet her due to the true dragon token but a challenge. This made him puzzled no matter how he thought about it. Apart from fighting, Zhao Feng spent most of his time comprehending and forming his root of law. Zhao Feng didn't pay much attention to the outside world. In reality, the truth wasn't complicated. Of the 4 black horses of the northern zone, only Bing Shuiwei and Zhao Feng have a 44-win streak. This blue-haired brat's luck isn't bad. He hasn't met a strong enough opponent, and that's why he's on par with Bing Shuiwei. Bing Shuiwei is indeed as competitive as her sister. She won't allow such a thing to happen. The geniuses below the stage all had playful expressions as they waited for a good show. Bing Shuiwei stood silently on the stage with disgust and disdain in her cold eyes. A measly early-stage true human rank cultivation and he's on par with me? This is a humiliation. I'm the number 1 black horse of the northern zone. Bing Shuiwei's eyebrows furrowed in disgust. However, Zhao Feng's strength wasn't bad and his luck wasn't bad either. She wanted to become the number 1 black horse of the northern zone and charged towards the rising star of the sacred true dragon gathering. This was why Bing Shuiwei challenged Zhao Feng. So that's how it is. That's good, I'm forming my root of law. This girl has just reached the true mystic rank, but her root of law is already so strong. Furthermore, her bloodline is of the same element as mine. Zhao Feng accepted reality. Although he didn't have a high chance of winning against Bing Shuiyue, he could learn from her. Blue-haired brat, your luck ends here. Bing Shuyue's face was filled with disgust as her true spirit aura enveloped Zhao Feng. She had just reached the true mystic rank and her root of law was already comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. Therefore, Bing Shuyue's true spirit chill was enough to crush the will of a normal true human rank. Oh, it's a little cold. Zhao Feng shuddered, but his mind was not affected. Whoosh! Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and locked onto Bing Shuyue. In a split second, Bing Shuyue's snow-white dress faded in Zhao Feng's eyes. Now that the god's spiritual eye had evolved to its current level, seeing through was only the most basic ability. But Zhao Feng wasn't trying to peep at her. Bing Shuyue's body flashed before his eyes and was replaced by the blood, qi of true spirit, and even the power of her bloodline. The clearest was his qi of true spirit which flowed through his meridians. Shameless! Bing Shuyue sensed something and her face turned red. Then, she was enveloped by a cold aura. Arctic wind! Bing Shuyue shouted and waved her jade-like hands. An icy blue gust of wind the size of a house howled as it shot toward Zhao Feng. A crazy attack. Within a radius of 1 mile, the Arctic wind was raging and howling. Even a gust of extreme north ice wind could instantly freeze a peak true human rank into a popsicle. Bing Shuyue, in her anger and embarrassment, sent out 7 or 8 Arctic winds at once. Even a normal true mystic rank would die here. CC. Zhao Feng felt an endless coldness sweep over him, and his blood and qi of true spirit became hard to circulate. Those at the true mystic rank who had comprehended the root of law could completely suppress those at the true human rank. Furthermore, Bing Shuyue's cultivation and skills were higher than Zhao Feng's. Qiu! Zhao Feng turned into an arc of lightning and disappeared from where he stood. Shua! In the next instant, 2 or 3 figures of Zhao Feng appeared in the air. Amongst them, 2 of them were the shadow doppelgangers created by Zhao Feng's shadow cloak. Bam! Bam! The icy wind roared and instantly crushed towards the area where Zhao Feng was. 2 of the figures were instantly destroyed. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's figure was pushed back and he kept on using his lightning claw and lightning ripple, but he couldn't face it head-on. The suppression of his root of profundity, the suppression of his cultivation base, and the suppression of his cultivation technique. This girl is indeed worthy of being close to Mo Tianyi and Qin Kun was level. In a normal clash, Zhao Feng would definitely lose. Right now, he didn't use his bloodline power or his 4-eye bloodline secret techniques. He only used the god's spiritual eye's control and speed to move around Bing Shuyue. However, Bing Shuyue's bloodline power and killing moves were also not used. Lightning Claw. Extreme northern ice wind. The lightning claw slashed through the air and clashed with the icy wind. Crack! The lightning claw was soon destroyed and the remaining power of the icy wind rushed towards Zhao Feng. Teleportation lightning steps. Zhao Feng's figure disappeared with a schwa and appeared several yards away in a flash of lightning. At the critical moment, he had dodged the core of the attack. The geniuses below the North Region arena trembled in fear. Zhao Feng seemed to be walking on a tightrope. If he was the slightest bit careless, he would be frozen into a popsicle and lose. However, Zhao Feng was able to avert danger every time, and every time, he was able to escape unscathed. His god's spiritual eye controlled the situation and could see how Bing Shuyue's qi of true spirit circulated, including the state of her bones and muscles. Schwa! 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 Zhao Feng's movement skill had merged the essence of the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible. It was fast and unpredictable. Bing Shuyue didn't specialize in speed and every time Zhao Feng saw her path, she would be forced to retreat. Although you're strong and I can't block you head-on, what can you do if you can't hit me head-on? Zhao Feng's figure was like lightning as he moved across the stage with a hint of calmness. His god's spiritual eye locked onto Bing Shuiwei, and while he moved around, he also observed how she used her root of law. The geniuses below the stage that were prepared to watch the show slowly put away their playfulness and disdain. Some of the top geniuses with good eyesight had solemn expressions. Although this Zhao Feng doesn't seem to be able to win, he's actually controlling the situation. Xia Xianshang's expression became solemn. He was thinking, although his sword Dao attacks were powerful, what would happen if Zhao Feng could see through all his movements and trajectories? And there was also the terrifying speed of his movement technique. This brat's eye bloodline has such a rare ability. The ghost-eyed man's eyes flickered with a tinge of jealousy. Firstly, the opponent's eye bloodline had terrifying control and could take the initiative. Secondly, a strong source of mental energy could allow one to achieve incredible things in the path of mental energy illusions. Furthermore, instinct told him that Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye wasn't as simple as it looked. This was because when he looked at Zhao Feng's left eye for the first time, his eye bloodline trembled uneasily. Shu Yue is being led by the nose by this brat. Goddess Bing Wei's eyebrows furrowed as she paid attention to the battle. Dozens of moves later, Zhao Feng's figure was like a ghost that came and went without a trace. He had the demeanor of the water moon pirate in the past. His god's spiritual eye locked onto Bing Shuiwei and only defended. Bing Shuiwei wasn't dumb and slowly calmed down, not wasting her chi of true spirit. If that's the case, Bing Shuiwei's expression was cold as she smiled coldly. The chi of true spirit within her trembled and a terrifying coldness spread out. Not good. Zhao Feng's expression changed as he caught sight of Bing Shuiwei's root of law blossoming and a sense of danger swept over. Ice Blade Storm! Bing Shuiwei shouted as she leapt into the air and danced. Her jade-like hands waved in the air as a terrifying ice storm swept out in all directions. What was even more frightening was that countless ring-shaped ice blades appeared around the ice storm. Even if it was a mountain rock, it would still be sliced into pieces. As Bing Shuiwei danced, the range of the ice blade storm became larger and larger, soon reaching 100 yards. Wherever she floated, the terrifying ice blade storm would engulf the entire area. Being an expert at the true mystic rank, Bing Shuiwei's speed wasn't much slower than Zhao Feng. The main difference was in speed. But now she was using the ice blade storm to squeeze Zhao Feng's space to dodge. The area of effect attack of the true mystic rank far surpasses the true human rank. Zhao Feng's expression was solemn as he landed on the stage. 3-flowered treasured lotus. Zhao Feng's expression was calm as a 3-colored lotus appeared under his feet. When green, blue, and purple petals extended from the 3-flowered treasured lotus, intertwining to form a tricolored flower screen. Ding! 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 Sparks flew around the 3-flowered treasured lotus. The ring-shaped ice blades around the ice blade storm cut the petals again and again, causing them to flicker. Hu Zhaofeng let out a long breath as he stood on the 3-flowered treasured lotus. The 3-flowered treasured lotus defensive power was undeniable. The 3-flowered treasured lotus gave off a hypnotic and aphrodisiac scent that made Bing Shuiwei exclaim and retreat dozens of yards away. Despicable! Bing Shuiwei's face was slightly red and her body was hot. She glared at Zhao Feng with disgust. The latter didn't mind and murmured, "Because this girl's inheritance is strong and her comprehension is profound, she's comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank." At this point in time, Zhao Feng had grasped the root of law that Bing Shuiwei had comprehended. As for forming the root of law, Zhao Feng had grasped the essence and method. All he lacked was a bit of time. Right at this point in time, Bing Shuiwei attacked once again and a weird ice pattern appeared on her skin like that of a feather. Ice Wind Phoenix Flight. The frigid storm in the air abruptly converged, producing an unprecedented cold energy pressure. In the end, the terrifying frigid tempest condensed into the shape of an ice phoenix. Its aura was majestic, and it carried with it the invisible pressure of an ancient creature. "This is your bloodline power?" Zhao Feng's bloodline started to tremble. A terrifying coldness and the aura of an ancient being almost suffocated him. Even with the 3-flowered treasured lotus protecting him, he couldn't take this move head-on. However, in this moment of danger, Zhao Feng's heart remained calm. Under the god's spiritual eye, he could even see how Bing Shiyue's bloodline circulated. Her bloodline attribute is the same as mine, so her bloodline technique should be suitable for me. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. Shua! A diagram appeared in Zhao Feng's mind, and after analyzing it according to Bing Shiyue's method, he used it on himself. God's spiritual eye duplication. Zhao Feng's left eye glowed with a mysterious blue light. The next instant, his hands danced like Bing Shiyue's. Hu boom! A large blurry figure appeared behind Zhao Feng and sat on a tattered throne like the King of Winter. Chapter 352. Ever since the capital, Zhao Feng had once again used his bloodline secret technique. This time, it was twice as profound as before. A mysterious figure of ice appeared behind Zhao Feng. It was more than 1 yard tall, and its size and coldness were stronger than last time. Its face was clearer. The biggest difference was that there was a broken and blurry ice-ceiling throne under the icy shadow, which had an ancient aura. That's... The mystic Ice Queen stared at the figure on the throne of ice behind Zhao Feng and was slightly surprised. That icy shadow was clearly a manifestation of his ancestral awakening bloodline. However, even the mystic Ice Queen, who was at the origin core realm, couldn't see through such a pure bloodline aura. Break! Zhao Feng roared as he thrust out his palm. Lightning blossomed like a lotus and boomed. With a casual palm, the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible merged together perfectly. The effect wasn't as simple as 1 + 1. It was obvious that Zhao Feng had made great progress in comprehending the root of law over the past couple days. Boom! As the palm energy burst forth, there was a huge ball of ice light surrounding it. It was bone-chilling and stagnant qi and blood. In an instant, Zhao Feng's palm turned into a flower of ice and lightning that was almost 10 yards wide. It blossomed beautifully and gave off a magnificent aura. Bam! The faint blue light of the ice phoenix clashed with the flower of ice and lightning, and created a terrifying explosion. Crack! The flower of ice and thunder exploded in the air, and ice and thunder rumbled. Hu Bing Lunyue's ice wind phoenix flight still had the advantage, but it was damaged and smashed towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng wasn't surprised. After all, there was a huge difference in cultivation between him and Bing Lanwei. Pun! The remaining power of the ice wind phoenix flight smashed into the 3-flowered treasured lotus, causing the petals to flicker. Behind Zhao Feng, the majestic icy shadow on the ice throne let out a low roar, creating a mysterious protection. The corrosive cold energy disappeared without a trace as soon as it got close. How is this possible? You clearly learned my bloodline secret skill just now. Bing Shiyue stared at Zhao Feng in disbelief. She had not expected him to possess such a powerful bloodline. It was subtle. Zhao Feng's bloodline attribute was the same as hers. Last time in Canopy Great Country, Prince Jin and Wang Xiaoguai's bloodline secret techniques were different, so Zhao Feng could learn a thing or two. Now that he had encountered a bloodline secret skill of the same attribute, he was able to copy it immediately. What do you mean by secretly learning? Ice-type bloodlines are not exclusive to your profound ice palace. Zhao Feng teased. You're seeking death. Although your bloodline inheritance is strong, the gap in cultivation and realm cannot be bridged. Bing Shiyue's face turned cold. With a shout, she attacked again. Ice Wind Phoenix Flight! A large ice phoenix was formed in the icy wind and charged towards Zhao Feng with the pressure of an ancient being. Ice Lightning Mystic Flower! Zhao Feng circulated his bloodline secret technique and thrust out his palm. The power of ice and lightning clashed with the ice phoenix in the middle of the stream of cold air. Pa! Bam! Bam! This time, Zhao Feng was more familiar and thrust out a few palms at once, clashing head-on with Bing Shiyue. In terms of pure destructive power, Zhao Feng's power of ice lightning was obviously more powerful than the pure power of ice. However, Bing Shuiwa had reached the true mystic rank and the quality of her chi of true spirit was higher. Her root of law could connect to the mysteries of heaven and earth, so she had the advantage in both quantity and quality. For this reason, Zhao Feng was at a disadvantage in a head-on clash, but this was much better than when he had been running around. Bing Shuyue's eyebrows furrowed and felt her head hurt. Zhao Feng had the protection of the three-flowered treasured lotus and the mysterious protection of the ice throne behind him. The power of ice that broke through his defense mysteriously disappeared when it got close to Zhao Feng. As time passed, the ice throne behind Zhao Feng became brighter. This blue-haired brat's so strong. He can already fight Bing Shuiwa head-on. The number 1 black horse of the northern zone is still unknown. The spectators were surprised. Qin Kunwu, Xia Xianshang and the ghost-eyed man, the 3 strongest in the first tier, were also surprised. The overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei's eyes flashed with surprise. His bloodline atavism can absorb the power of frost. Zhao Feng's bloodline could be said to be both offensive and defensive. Adding on the 3-flowered treasured lotus, he was undefeatable. Shua! So! The 3-flowered treasured lotus suddenly carried Zhao Feng and sped through the air. Gradually, he even switched from defense to offense. He was flexible and varied, no longer defending passively. Boom! Zhao Feng and Bing Shuiyue started to fight fiercely on the northern zone's arena. Bing Shuiyue's aura was stronger, and Zhao Feng was more agile. Flowers of ice and lightning blossomed in the air. The 2 black horses of the northern zone aren't bad. These 2 black horses are at least comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. The battle on the northern zone attracted the attention of the spectators and geniuses. Sister wins? Goddess Bingwei murmured after a long silence. At this moment, as a peerless prodigy, she came to this conclusion. Who won and who lost? Qin Kunwu, Xia Xianshang and the ghost-eyed man were all thinking. This Zhao Feng is indeed a black horse. Even I misjudged him. Unfortunately, he's going to lose this battle. Qin Kunwu said confidently. What do you mean? The square-faced youth asked curiously. He had always had high hopes for Zhao Feng and his clash with Bing Shuiwe was even more stunning. None of the bloodline inheritances can support a protracted battle. Qin Kunwu chuckled. Hearing this, the square-faced youth's expression changed slightly. He then sighed and seemed to agree with Qin Kunwu's opinion. Once you lose the protection of your bloodline, how will you fight against experts at the true mystic rank? Coldness flashed in Bing Shuiyue's eyes. Although she couldn't do anything to Zhao Feng in the current situation, she had the upper hand in terms of aura. As the 2 clashed, their bloodline power would be used up. Bloodline power came from an ancestor's inheritance, and once it was used up, it was hard to replenish. In terms of recovery speed, bloodline power was much slower than chi of true spirit. Furthermore, Bing Shuiwe was confident that her bloodline inheritance would last longer than Zhao Feng. Am I going to lose? How could Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye not see the situation? As the battle continued, his bloodline power was being used up bit by bit. However, Zhao Feng wasn't willing to lose like this. Before condensing my root of law, I'm indeed not her match in the physical world. Looks like I can only try the mental energy world. Zhao Feng's mind quickly analyzed. Punches, kicks, blades and sword attacks including chi of true spirit all belong to the physical world and could be seen with the naked eye. Eye of illusion. This girl's root of law is so strong and her mental energy level isn't bad. Eye of ice soul? This girl cultivates an ice skill and should have a strong resistance to mental energy. Then Eye of heart? Those from the mystic ice palace are cold and tough and won't be able to find an opening. Zhao Feng thought about the 3-eye bloodline techniques he knew. In the end, he found that the most suitable was the lightning fire god's eye. Fire and ice countered each other. The lightning fire eye was the fusion of lightning and fire and could pierce through both the physical and mental energy worlds. Of course. Zhao Feng also had a killing move which was the water moon god peach fan. It could use mental energy attacks and whoever had the strongest mental energy would have the advantage. Then I'll try the lightning fire god's eye. Zhao Feng's mind spun and he made his decision. When wisps of true spirit lightning fire suddenly jumped around in his dantian. Wisps of faint blue blood turned into lines that extended into the dimension of his left eye. Within the dimension of his left eye, the true spirit lightning flame merged with the eye bloodline power in the freezing pond. Pun! Pun! Zhao Feng's left eye started to contract at a weird rhythm. A freezing pond appeared in his left eye and wisps of faint azure lightning fire appeared around it as if it had a life of its own. As the faint azure lightning fire merged with his left eye, the latter seemed to become like Zhao Feng's eye. At this point in time, a faint azure lightning fire spun around the edge of Zhao Feng's left eye. That's... Bing Shuyue's heart shook, and she felt uneasy. How is this possible? The ghost-eyed man below the stage exclaimed, his face full of shock. This is the secret method of our Wu family's ghost-eye flame. Lightning fire god's eye. Open! The lightning fire in Zhao Feng's left eye flashed and disappeared. Whoosh! A ball of azure lightning fire seemed to burn on Bing Shuyue's body and gave off a low boom. This wasn't a normal fire. In the blink of an eye, that ball of light blue thunder fire roared as it burned and spread into his mind. Arg! Bing Shuyue screamed as her face went white and cold sweat appeared on her forehead. She circulated her chi of true spirit, and her body glowed with an icy light. Her skin became brighter and brighter like the patterns on a feather. Sizzle! More than half of the faint green lightning flames burning on her body were quickly extinguished. However, the lightning fire god's eye's activation speed was too fast. The mysterious flame would hit the target almost the instant she looked at it. When the lightning fire was extinguished, there were several scorch marks on Bing Shuyue's skin. However, the bigger disaster was in the mental energy dimension. Because the lightning fire god's eye was a true spirit lightning fire that had merged with Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye, it could also burn mental energy. Facing mental energy attacks, Bing Shuyue's methods were weak. Arg! Bing Shuyue screamed in pain and rolled on the ground. Formless lightning and fire burned and wreaked havoc in her mind, causing her to bear unprecedented pain and suffering. Sister! Goddess Bing Wei's expression changed dramatically. Blue-haired brat! You dared to steal my Wu family's ghost-eye flame secret technique? The ghost-eyed man roared in anger. Zhao Feng's god's eye lightning fire was obviously copied from him. What was more infuriating was that it was even more destructive than his eye bloodline. At this point in time, the ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth in jealousy and anger. No, this brat's eye bloodline's most terrifying ability is to copy the enemy's secret techniques. The ghost-eyed man suddenly thought of something and couldn't help but take a cold breath. Being one of the successors of one of the three major eye bloodline families, this was the first time he had heard of such a monstrous eye bloodline. Chapter 353. The Northern Stage. From the overwhelming prodigies and the top three of the first tier to the prodigies of the continent, they were all stunned. Lightning fire god's eye. Zhao Feng's left eye flashed and a half-transparent lightning fire landed on Bing Shuyue. Victory was flipped in this one glance. No one had expected the situation to change so quickly. Just a moment ago Bing Shuyue had the advantage, but the next moment she was hit by a terrifying eye flame. Arg! Bing Shuyue screamed and rolled on the ground as if she was better off dead. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. The lightning fire god's eye's power had exceeded his expectations and had put the opponent in a life-or-death situation. At this moment in time the faint azure lightning fire was burning Bing Shuyue's soul and the pain was 10 times or even 100 times stronger than the pain on her body. Sister, quickly admit defeat! Goddess Bing Wei and the Mystic Ice Queen exclaimed in the spectating stands. Plop! Bing Shuyue's screams stopped, and she fainted. Shua! The judge waved the True Dragon flag and glanced deeply at Zhao Feng. When Zhao Feng's True Dragon token glowed brightly and a layer of faint silver dragon lines appeared on it. His genius dragon blessing increased by a significant amount. When Zhao Feng got off the stage, he saw the cold killing intent in Goddess Bing Wei's eyes as well as the ghost-eyed man's jealousy and anger. Although his fame had risen in this battle, he had offended one of the overwhelming prodigies, and the ghost-eyed man's jealousy and hatred. The key is to condense the root of law as soon as possible. Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged as wisps of intent collided in his mind and merged into his source of true spirit before guiding the heaven-earth Yuan Qi nearby. At this moment in time, the sacred true dragon gathering battle of the 5 zones had also entered the late stages. Of the 4 black horses of the northern stage, only Zhao Feng had won 45 times. The battle just then made Zhao Feng the number 1 black horse of the northern stage. At the same time, the east, west, south, and central regions all had big dark horses. Especially in the southern region, the 4 dark horses included Xian Wuheng and Lu Qinxin. From the beginning to the end, Xian Wuheng fought with one hand and even defeated experts at the true mystic rank. In the air on the oval platform, the 9 venerables of the Sacred Alliance looked down at the scene, occasionally discussing with joy on their faces. This Xian Wuheng is young, but his intent and style vaguely have the air of a grandmaster. He doesn't have a bloodline, nor does he have top-notch aptitude, yet he can reach this step. Strange, strange. The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord was puzzled and couldn't understand. It is indeed a miracle. Moreover, he has suppressed his true cultivation level. That blue-haired Yusai bloodline is abnormally strong. It's at least on par with the 3 major eye bloodlines of the continent. Zhe, maybe it's connected to one of the 8 great god eyes. The supremacies on the platform expressed their opinions. The dragon blessing of this generation's sacred true dragon gathering was extremely strong, and the quality of the black horses far surpassed the past. Each of the 5 peerless prodigies could reign over several generations. In the clouds, layers upon layers of overlapping images, like a mirage, were faintly discernible. At a certain moment, a green light appeared in the overlapping images and one could faintly see mountains and rivers. There were also some human-like beings such as those with human heads and snake bodies. Another inheritance projection appeared so quickly. The sovereigns raised their heads almost at the same time. This is the Green Sea inheritance, and there are many extinct races inside. This inheritance only appeared once in the Azure Flower continent 10,000 years ago. The value of the Green Sea inheritance is indeed not bad. It's even close to the 4 great inheritances. The joy on the sovereigns' faces grew. The first round of the sacred true dragon gathering hadn't even ended and a second inheritance projection had appeared. Even the era of the Sword Saint Yi Wuxia and the Scarlet Moon Patriarch didn't have such a scene. The only regret was that there was no sign of any of the 4 great inheritances. In this peak era where the 5 overwhelming prodigies had appeared, it would be too disappointing if one of the 4 great inheritances didn't appear. No rush. The 4 great legacies will only appear at the most crucial moment. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord smiled faintly. Even if this era was the strongest, the sacred true dragon gathering wouldn't be able to push the dragon blessing to the peak. Northern stage. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and put all his effort into forming the root of law. Within his dantian, the source of true spirit trembled. All of Zhao Feng's cultivation essence was in this source. His understanding came from this foundation. Starting from the source of true spirit, Zhao Feng's understanding started to rise in his mind. In his mind, he could faintly see a strand of light green thread, thinner than silk, appearing and disappearing from time to time. The faint azure threads flickered with transparent, ring-shaped electric patterns. They produced strange fluctuations that merged with the world. At this point in time, the root of law was faintly discernible in Zhao Feng's mind. It was in the initial stages of forming. If it was just the lightning inheritance, the speed of forming the root of law would be several times faster. Maybe by now. Zhao Feng sighed. He realized that forming the root of law before he had even reached the true mystic rank was already not normal. However, Zhao Feng was greedy and wanted to merge the essence of the mystic flower treasured Bible. But now that things had reached this point, Zhao Feng had no path of retreat, and he didn't regret it. The initial strength of the root of law will affect one's strength in the future. For example, Bing Shuiwa used the essence of the mystic ice inheritance to reach the true mystic rank not long ago, but her root of law was strong enough to beat Ma Tiansan. Zhao Feng didn't take a single step back as he gritted his teeth and advanced. Under this pressure, his god's spiritual eye's comprehension, learning and calculation abilities had reached a peak and he had dug out a lot of potential. Every second, the insights in Zhao Feng's mind clashed hundreds or thousands of times. Only when the true dragon token sensed something did Zhao Feng go up to fight. I admit defeat. On the northern stage, a youth at the late stages of the true human rank had a depressed expression and admitted defeat without thinking. After defeating Bing Shuiwei, Zhao Feng was the number 1 black horse of the northern stage, and his strength was comparable to the first tier. When he left the stage, Zhao Feng felt a coldness pierce through his spine and heart, and his body stiffened. Glancing over, Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold and filled with killing intent that made one's heart tremble. Next to her, Bing Shuiwei sat cross-legged on the ground with a pale face. The mystic Ice Queen's hands were crossed as she healed her disciple. Master, even you can't do anything? Goddess Bingwei asked. Ever since she lost, Bing Shuiwei was in a life-or-death situation. Luckily, a sovereign at the Origin Core realm used a supreme spiritual pill to save her life. Shuiwei is out of danger, but the damage to her soul can't be healed in a short amount of time. I'm worried that this damage will damage Shuiwei's root of law, and if it's serious, she may never be able to take another step forward. The mystic Ice Queen sighed. Doesn't that mean? Goddess Bingwei gritted her teeth unwillingly. Yes, she won't be able to participate in the sacred True Dragon Gathering, the mystic Ice Queen said. She glanced deeply at Zhao Feng's back and fell into silence. In the sacred True Dragon Gathering, even sovereigns at the Origin Core realm couldn't interfere. Every genius in the sacred True Dragon Gathering would be protected by the Sacred Alliance, especially those that reached the top 100. Furthermore, she remembered that Zhao Feng came from the Iron Blood religion. The juniors were fighting fair and square. Since no one was killed or maimed, it was not appropriate for her to intervene. Damn it! Goddess Bingwei's eyes were filled with killing intent and a layer of icy mist surrounded her. The heaven-earth yuan she seemed to freeze. Sovereign, I want to challenge Zhao Feng. Goddess Bingwei took out her golden true dragon token and her dragon blessing covered the entire northern stage. According to the rules of the sacred True Dragon Gathering, everyone had 3 chances to challenge someone. Before, Bing Shuiwei had used this method to challenge Zhao Feng. And this time, Goddess Bingwei wanted to use the same method to take revenge for her sister. Although I can't purposely kill someone in the sacred True Dragon Gathering, I'll kill you even if I lose a portion of my dragon blessing. At least, I'll cripple you and cripple your cultivation. Goddess Bingwei's face was filled with killing intent, and her snow-white face was twisted. The overwhelming prodigy's true dragon token glowed and the roar of a dragon sounded. A golden dragon faintly appeared around Goddess Bingwei. Oh my God! What does Goddess Bingwei want to do? As an unparalleled prodigy, he's challenging a new dark horse? This scene even shocked the entire ancient arena. The central region's Yutianhao, the eastern region's Tanailanwe, the southern region's Taiyuan Shuangzi, and the western region's Shiqingtian, the other 4 overwhelming prodigies all looked towards the northern stage. Instantly, 5 genius golden dragons of providence rose from the 5 regions stage. At this point in time, the first round of the sacred True Dragon Gathering had reached a climax. The atmosphere and fighting spirit of the audience were aroused. Countless geniuses were excited. One boom! The ancient Colosseum was surrounded by mountains of stone statues. The majestic stone statues looked even more lifelike than before. The aura and power from the stone statues rose endlessly and instantly suppressed the entire ancient arena. Even sovereign lords at the Origin Core realm couldn't resist this aura. That aura was solemn, and mighty, as if it had been passed down from the ancient mythological era. The ancient arena seems to be able to summon the power of the ancient era. This is indeed a great era. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord's eyes were filled with excitement. At the same time, another overlapping phantom appeared in the clouds in the sky. It was a phantom projected from the distant outer realms. This time, traces of blood appeared in the phantom image. There seemed to be a boundless sea of blood, mountains of corpses, and a bloody aura of slaughter. Even the geniuses in the arena could sense it a little. Oh my God! It's the projection of the Scarlet Moon Inheritance. Scarlet Moon Inheritance! How can it be so fast? The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance were stunned. The Scarlet Moon Inheritance was indeed worthy of being one of the 4 great inheritances. As soon as it appeared, it pushed away the other 2 inheritances. Chapter 354. No one expected the Scarlet Moon Inheritance to appear before the first Sacred True Dragon Gathering had even finished. The Scarlet Moon Inheritance was ranked 3rd of the 4 great inheritances. The Scarlet Moon Patriarch who had once swept across the continent had obtained the Scarlet Moon Inheritance. At this moment in time, the sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance were overjoyed. Wait, what's wrong? Even though the 5 overwhelming prodigies have appeared in this great era, the Sacred True Dragon Gathering's Dragon Blessing hasn't reached the level of the 4 great inheritances yet. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord's eyebrows furrowed and felt that something was wrong. With a buzzing sound, the blood pool's shadow flickered between the clouds in the sky, giving off an unstable feeling. Suddenly, Shwa! A giant bloody hand phantom that was over 1,000 feet long and wide appeared in front of the Scarlet Moon Inheritance projection like a mirage. Shwa! The Scarlet Moon Inheritance phantom image that had just appeared instantly disappeared. What? What's going on? The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance exclaimed in shock with their eyes wide open. Although the Scarlet Moon Inheritance hadn't connected yet, the inheritance had already appeared in the air above the ancient arena. How could the inheritance that had already appeared disappear? What kind of person has the ability to take away the Scarlet Moon Inheritance? The venerables on the foundation of the platform turned pale with fright and looked at each other. In order to do this, there are 2 conditions. The first is that they have to be at least at the Void God realm, and they need to plan a lot. The second is that they have to be closely related to the Scarlet Moon Inheritance, and use the Scarlet Moon's secret technique to summon the inheritance. The Deputy Palace Lord took a deep breath with a solemn expression. Across the continent, there was only one person who could meet these 2 requirements. Who was that person? The Scarlet Moon Patriarch! The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance exclaimed. What a terrifying plan! Our Sacred True Dragon Gathering this time has become a gift for the Scarlet Moon Religion. The Sacred True Dragon Gathering's Dragon Blessing and the Scarlet Moon Religion's secret technique has caused the Scarlet Moon Inheritance to appear. If I'm not wrong, the Scarlet Moon Demon must be opening the Scarlet Moon Inheritance somewhere in the continent. The sovereigns soon came to a conclusion. Making a gift. At the thought of this, the 9 honorable ones on the platform were filled with indignation and indignance. In the past, the Scarlet Moon Religion Master led his followers and swept across the entire continent. To be able to achieve this, the Scarlet Moon Religion Master, whether it was strength or planning, was unparalleled. Vice Palace Master, should we send someone to find the opening location of the Scarlet Moon Inheritance, and destroy the revival of the Scarlet Moon Religion? That's right! Annihilate the evil cult! The Martial Highnesses said while clenching their teeth. The Scarlet Moon Religion Master has been planning for so long, how could he not have prepared meticulously? Now we are in the light, and they are in the dark. We might not be able to find them, but they can definitely find the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Once we send out our people, it won't be hard for the Scarlet Moon Demonic Religion to disrupt the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. The Vice Palace Master's voice was deep and steady. The venerables on the platform fell silent. The Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch's plan was too exquisite. He used the Sacred True Dragon Gathering's power to reopen the Scarlet Moon Inheritance. At this moment, the Sacred Alliance did not dare to act rashly. The sacred true dragon gathering was out in the open, and if the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch destroyed it at the critical moment, it wouldn't be worth it. After all, the Scarlet Moon Religion's Patriarch was famous throughout the ages. During the glorious era, he could cover the sky with one hand. Who in the continent had the confidence to face the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch head-on? Everyone. This is a glorious era, and the dragon blessing of this sacred true dragon gathering is extremely strong. The chances of the Heaven's Legacy inheritance connecting is increasing. Once the Heaven's Legacy inheritance descends, it will be the time to change the continent. It's much more useful than the Scarlet Moon inheritance. The Vice Palace Master said loudly. Vice Palace Master is right. The Scarlet Moon inheritance is mainly beneficial to the Blood Demon Path inheritance, and is far from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance and Seven Sword inheritance. Everyone nodded their heads. The Scarlet Moon inheritance was ranked third out of the 4 great inheritances. The Heaven's Legacy inheritance and Seven Sword inheritance were both above it. The Sword Saint Wuxia had obtained the Seven Sword inheritance, and became the key person to defeat the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch. Ancient Colosseum. The appearance of the Scarlet Moon inheritance was just a small interlude that lasted less than 10 breaths. Within the ancient arena, the sparring between the major zones continued. Northern Zone's arena. The overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei challenged Zhao Feng to a fight. Okay. The judge nodded his head. However, there was a period to the competition, and Zhao Feng couldn't immediately accept Goddess Bing Wei's challenge. The rules of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering were very strict, and he would only meet Goddess Bing Wei when Zhao Feng went up. At this point in time, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and was at the crucial moment of comprehending and forming his root of law. In his mind, the light green thread was translucent and faintly discernible. Ring-shaped electric particles appeared in the surroundings, blooming and withering like a flower, repeating the cycle. The root of law came from the source of true spirit, and was refined in the mental energy world. Once it was formed, Zhao Feng's every action would connect to the heaven-earth lightning and his strength would increase dramatically. At that time, apart from the difference in cultivation and true force, Zhao Feng would be no different from an expert at the true mystic rank. My root of law has merged the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible. Once it's formed, it will be comparable to Bing Shuiwa or even stronger. Zhao Feng was secretly looking forward to it. He didn't know that merging 2 different essences and forming a root of law was something that normal experts at the true spirit realm didn't even dare to think about. Zhao Feng's actions had broken a taboo. This was an extremely dangerous action that could cause one's mind to go insane. Luckily, Zhao Feng had the God's spiritual eye and his analysis ability was more than 100 times stronger than those at the same cultivation. His source of mental energy was unfathomable, and he had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul, which was why he hadn't met any danger until now. Zhao Feng! A voice suddenly sounded in Zhao Feng's mind. Zhao Feng opened his eyes and looked towards the spectating stands. The person speaking was the blood-hair-colored Tiamo. It's best if you admit defeat to Goddess Bing Wei's challenge, Tiamo said solemnly. What? Goddess Bing Wei's challenge? Zhao Feng jumped up in fright. When did this happen? He had been concentrating on forming his root of law and didn't know about this. Glancing over, Goddess Bing Wei's cold eyes were filled with killing intent, and an invisible coldness even charged into Zhao Feng's mental energy level and gave him a suffocating coldness. I know you're not satisfied and are still trying to increase your strength. However, the overwhelming prodigies are much stronger than you. You're still young and at least 10 years younger than the overwhelming prodigies of the older generation. Comparatively speaking, your performance in this sacred true dragon gathering has already surprised me, the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion persuaded. Zhao Feng was dazed and hadn't recovered from the news of being challenged by the overwhelming prodigies. Each of the 5 overwhelming prodigies had strength close to the true Lord rank. Before, Zhao Feng had seen the strength of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, and his God's spiritual eye concluded that his chances of winning were less than 10%, and he might even be instantly killed. Don't force yourself. Goddess Bingwei definitely didn't have good intentions in challenging you. If she takes the initiative to challenge you, even if you lose, you won't lose much dragon providence. The most important thing is the inheritances from the outside world. That's the real benefit. The Deputy Patriarch of the Iron Blood religion continued. Deputy Patriarch, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Zhao Feng nodded his head and said, Tianma's strategy was obviously very logical and focused on the bigger picture. If Zhao Feng was too competitive and was crippled by Goddess Bingwei or crippled of his cultivation, how would he get a higher ranking? How would he get an inheritance from the outside world? According to the rules of the sacred True Dragon Gathering, if there were several inheritances from the outside world, the higher-ranked ones would have priority. For some of the bigger inheritances, there might only be a few spots. Blue-haired brat. You've almost destroyed my sister's future. She has no hope of entering the inheritance. I'll give you a taste of your own medicine. I'll cripple you and make you regret it for 10 years. Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold and full of killing intent. Bingwei, don't go too far when you attack later. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture and delay your own future. The Mystic Ice Queen warned. Being an elder, she couldn't punish Zhao Feng, that would lower her status. Furthermore, the sacred True Dragon Gathering would protect true dragon geniuses, especially black horses like Zhao Feng. Time passed by slowly. Both Goddess Bingwei and Zhao Feng felt time pass very slowly. Many geniuses in the northern zone and even the entire ancient arena looked at Zhao Feng with pity and schadenfreude. Zhao Yufei, Jiang Sanfeng, Bei Moi and company were all worried. The undefeatable legend of the unparalleled prodigies had not been broken yet. They basically crushed all other geniuses. Right at this moment, an exciting battle came to the central arena. Mo Tianyi and Yu Tianhao met. One side was the peak of the northern continent, and the other was the head of the overwhelming prodigies who could be said to have suppressed dozens of generations. Yuan Mountain's secret palm! Mo Tianyi gathered his life's power and used the heavenly Yuan clan's killing art without hesitation. When an orange light flashed and the shadow of a metallic mountain appeared above his head, it contained a heavy power that could shatter mountains and crush everything within 100 miles. The entire stage faintly trembled in front of that move. The remaining power of that terrifying move made the geniuses below feel suffocated. This Mo Tianyi is so strong. He's trained the Yuan Mountain secret technique to such a level. Qin Kunwu, the ghost-eyed man and company were shocked. A power like a mountain. Without using my bloodline, I can't block it at all. Yao Feng's heart shook. Mo Tianyi, the legend of the northern continent, had reached such a level. Unparalleled in the world. Yu Tianhao's emotionless palm seemed to contain the will to look down on everything. Boom! Heaven and earth seemed to tremble in front of that palm. A dazzling and mysterious aurora seemed to have opened up a dark world. Its power was vast, crushing and sweeping away everything. Oh my God, this is comparable to the true Lord rank and it's even more profound. This Yu Tianhao is indeed worthy of being an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations. At the same time, he surpassed Sword Saint Yu Wuxia and the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch. The entire center arena was enveloped by the powerful palm of unparalleled under the heavens. Bam! Mo Tianyi's figure flew back and spat out a mouthful of blood in midair. Chapter 355. The legend of the northern continent, Mo Tianyi, had been injured by the overwhelming prodigy Yu Tianhao in one move. Mo Tianyi landed on the ground and wiped the blood from his mouth, his face full of shock. Wasn't this similar to the last sacred True Dragon Gathering? 10 years had passed, and he had made great progress but couldn't change the result. Shua! Yu Tianhao's figure flashed and appeared on the other side of the stage and said in a low tone, "You're the first person to be able to take one move from me and still have the ability to fight." A bitter smile appeared on Mo Tianyi's face. So what if he could take one move? He was already heavily injured. If he continued to fight, his final ranking would be affected and he might not even be able to enter a good place. "I admit defeat," Mo Tianyi soon decided. The terrifying opponent in front of him had reached the peak true mystic rank from the last sacred true dragon gathering to the early stages of the true mystic rank. He was the head of the 5 overwhelming prodigies and was truly unrivaled. Mo Tianyi admitting defeat made Yu Tianhao shake his head in disappointment. His figure seemed lonely as he walked off the stage. He had been lonely for far too long. In this glorious era, because of Yu Tianhao's existence, countless geniuses lost their luster. This was their sorrow. However, wasn't Yu Tianhao sad as well? He stood at the peak of this generation, and couldn't find anyone who was his match. On the stage, the 9 sovereigns would always watch Yu Tianhao's battles. Yu Xingqian, your son's future is immeasurable. If I remember correctly, Yu Tianhao is only 26 or 27. He reached the true spirit realm when he was 10 and became the #1 genius of the continent. The Mystic Sword Sovereign sighed. The Mystic Sword Sovereign had appeared in the Rising Dragon auction last time and was now one of the 9 sovereigns. Some of the sovereigns on the stage looked enviously at the handsome youth. He was Yu Tianhao's father, Yu Xingqian. What if I told you that if Tianhao didn't purposely control himself, he might have broken through to the true lord rank already? Yu Xingqian smiled faintly. Hearing this, waves appeared in the hearts of the sovereigns. But if that was the case, then there would be no suspense in this sacred true dragon gathering, so Howard didn't try to break through to the true lord rank. For example, people like Taiyuan Shuangzi and Goddess Bing Wei have a chance to threaten his first position. Yu Xingqian sighed softly. He did not completely agree with his son's way of doing things. If Yu Tianhao had reached the true lord rank, there would be no doubt that he would be #1 consecutively. After Mo Tianyi's defeat, many eyes in the ancient arena looked towards the northern arena. On the northern region arena, there was also a battle between the peerless prodigies, and it was a challenge from the peerless prodigies. Goddess Bing Wei has received the essence of the Mystic Ice inheritance and apparently has cultivated the rare Mystic Ice Jade charming body. Her battle power has exploded and she has the chance to challenge Yu Tianhao for first place. In the last Sacred True Dragon gathering, Goddess Bing Wei was one of Yu Tianhao's few strong opponents. Many people's topic had shifted to the northern stage. Goddess Bing Wei was also related to Zhao Feng. After defeating Bing Shuiwei, Zhao Feng became the #1 black horse of the northern stage. Amongst the black horses of the ancient arena, he was at least in the top 3 or even the top 2. How many moves can the #1 black horse of the northern stage last against an overwhelming prodigy? I'm guessing no more than 3 moves. He might not even last 1 move. Wait. That Zhao Feng might just admit defeat. The geniuses of the northern stage were looking forward to this battle. Everyone was guessing how many moves Zhao Feng could take in front of an overwhelming prodigy. It wasn't that they didn't think if Zhao Feng could win. It was just that this wasn't realistic. Even the legend of the northern continent, Mo Tianyi, admitted defeat in 1 move in front of an overwhelming prodigy. How could Zhao Feng, who also came from the northern continent? Unless I condense the root of law and that plan succeeds, there's no chance at all. Zhao Feng had also calculated in his mind. The result was that he had no hope at all. Regretfully, Zhao Feng's root of law was at the last critical moment, and met a small resistance. The main reason was that the essence of the mystic flower treasured scripture had to be fused into the root of profound, making it much more difficult. Within his mind, a transparent faint azure line appeared and was surrounded by sparks of lightning that formed a flower shape. This was only the beginning form of the root of law and hadn't formed yet. But even then, Zhao Feng already had the ability to communicate with the heaven and earth, and he could use the lightning inheritance and mystic flower treasured Bible with his thoughts. His hard work hadn't gone to waste, and Zhao Feng's strength had increased. When his true dragon token suddenly sensed something and pointed towards the northern stage. It's finally starting! Goddess Bing Wei couldn't wait any longer and appeared on the northern zone stage in a blur. Bing Wei, you've challenged Zhao Feng. If you win, you'll only get half of his normal dragon blessing. On the other hand, if you lose, you'll lose twice the normal dragon blessing, the judge said emotionlessly. Normally in a true dragon token battle, the loser would lose a small portion of their dragon blessing. Bingwei's method of challenge meant that even if she won, she could only take half of Zhao Feng's normal dragon blessing. This meant that even if Zhao Feng lost, the loss of dragon blessing wasn't big compared to the total amount he had lost. I confirm, Goddess Bingwei said without hesitation. She did the same thing as her sister and challenged Zhao Feng. Shua! Zhao Feng's figure turned into a flash of lightning as he landed on the northern stage. Although the root of law had only formed in embryonic form, Zhao Feng felt a close connection with the heaven-earth lightning Yuan Qi, and his speed was twice as fast as before. Zhao Feng, you won't admit defeat, right? Goddess Bingwei laughed mockingly, her eyes cold. Admit defeat? Zhao Feng's heart moved. He did have such thoughts. Before he could say anything, you don't have the chance. A cold light flashed in Goddess Bingwei's eyes, and her perfect body radiated a terrifying coldness as well as an ancient bloodline pressure. At this moment in time, the air seemed to freeze. Zhao Feng felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, and his blood stopped flowing. He hiccuped as a sense of danger enveloped his body. Facing an overwhelming prodigy for the first time, Zhao Feng finally understood how terrifying this level was. It wasn't any weaker than facing a true lord rank. Zhao Feng. Admit defeat. Tianma on the spectating stand sensed something was wrong and exclaimed. However, Goddess Bingwei's attack was too fast. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Her ice robe fluttered in the wind, and the icy wind and cold currents that covered the sky formed a storm that instantly swept through a radius of 1 mile. The bone-chilling coldness seeped into every corner of the area. Water droplets turned to ice and frost spread across a mile radius. At that moment, Goddess Bingwei was like a goddess of ice in a world of ice and snow. See! A layer of frost appeared on Zhao Feng's body, and his qi of true spirit and bloodline power were being frozen by the coldness. His qi of true spirit was frozen and couldn't resist at all. This is the strength of an overwhelming prodigy. Zhao Feng's heart was shocked as he lost all feeling in his limbs. A breath later, Zhao Feng had completely lost control of his body. That coldness was even corroding and freezing his mind. He was like a human-shaped ice statue that froze on the spot. At this point in time, the only thing Zhao Feng could move was his god's spiritual eye, and his bloodline power could barely be used. Goddess Bingwei smiled playfully. A transparent icy wind appeared on her palm, and an even stronger forbidden coldness surged. Not good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto the ice wind in Goddess Bingwei's hand. This was even stronger and more condensed than the extreme northern mystic ice wind. A danger like never before came. Instinct told him that if Goddess Bingwei's ice gusted him, he would be sealed in ice forever and become a lifeless ice statue. I've lost the ability to move. Once she does this, it's equivalent to killing me, and she'll lose her right to participate in the sacred true dragon gathering. Zhao Feng's heart was calm as his mind quickly analyzed. He then concluded that Goddess Bingwei wouldn't dare do this. It wasn't worth it. If Goddess Bingwei wanted to take revenge for her sister, the best way was to cripple Zhao Feng so that he couldn't fight in the sacred true dragon gathering and wouldn't be able to obtain the inheritance. Bloodline open. Zhao Feng's left eye released a mysterious blue light as he circulated his bloodline power with the god's spiritual eye as the core. A faint blue light appeared on Zhao Feng's skin and spread across his body. When a large, blurry figure of ice suddenly appeared behind Zhao Feng and sat on a tattered throne. The bloodline secret technique was fully opened, and the cold power around Zhao Feng's body instantly decreased. His body was about to return to normal. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly. She was already prepared and sent another ball of ice wind towards Zhao Feng. Boom! Zhao Feng's figure was pushed back dozens of yards, and cracks appeared on the ice figure behind him. I'll beat you until you can't resist and let the power of ice corrode your body. If this continues, your body will be filled with ice poison and lose all senses. At that time, apart from your mental energy consciousness, you'll be a cold corpse that won't live past half a year. Coldness flashed in Goddess Bingwei's eyes. Not only did she want Zhao Feng to miss the sacred true dragon gathering, she also wanted to kill him. As long as Zhao Feng didn't die immediately, Goddess Bingwei wouldn't lose her dragon blessing and wouldn't even need to pay any price. When Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye to circulate his bloodline power, and the cracks on the eye's figure and throne behind him quickly healed and became even brighter, he roared unwillingly. The eye's figure and the frozen throne gave Zhao Feng a powerful protection that allowed him to absorb and convert the power of ice. Otherwise, Zhao Feng's body would have been frozen by the power of mystic ice already. At this moment, Zhao Feng's bloodline awakening figure didn't weaken but instead became stronger. Goddess Bingwei's palm once again tore apart the ice figure and froze Zhao Feng, making the latter unable to move. Do I really have to admit defeat? A faint azure lightning flame appeared in Zhao Feng's left eye. In reality, Zhao Feng had the ability to admit defeat. His voice could be sent directly from the spiritual plane to inform the venerable judges. Although his mental energy was eroded by the power of ice, the god's spiritual eye was still a forbidden area. Chapter 356. This was the first time he fought an overwhelming prodigy, and Zhao Feng was in danger like never before. The difference in strength meant that he had no chance of winning. Those watching could see that Goddess Bingwei hadn't used her full strength, or else Zhao Feng would have been kicked out, or even killed. Blood-hair-colored Tiamat had warned Zhao Feng to admit defeat before he went up. Losing in front of an overwhelming prodigy wasn't shameful at all. For many geniuses, it was even an honor. The legend of the northern continent, Mo Tianyi, gave up after one move against an overwhelming prodigy. This was a wise choice for the big picture. Zhao Feng, why don't you admit defeat? Although you're not an overwhelming prodigy's match, I believe you have the ability to admit defeat. Blood-hair-colored Tiamat sat on the spectating stand and couldn't help but feel anxious. Tiamat knew Zhao Feng's talent and potential. Although it couldn't be compared to Yu Tianhao, it wasn't impossible for him to become an overwhelming prodigy in another 10 years. At least in this sacred true dragon gathering, no one had done better than Zhao Feng. At this moment in time, in the ancient arena, countless gazes were fixed on the northern arena. Even the venerables on the oval-shaped platform in the air were watching with interest. Admit defeat? Zhao Feng obviously knew that this was a wise decision. But in the depths of his heart, there was a voice, a force, a stubborn conviction that made him realize that saying the word surrender was harder than ascending to the heavens. Looking back at his life, from the Green Leaf Village to Sun Feather City to the Guanjuan Province, Broken Moon Clan, 13 Clan Banquet, and now the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Suddenly, Zhao Feng realized that he had never truly admitted defeat, even when he was beaten by Zhao Kun when he first entered the Zhao clan. He had never truly admitted defeat. The Broken Moon clan was just playing house and purposely lost to Sister Ran. It was because of this determination that Zhao Feng had been able to surpass geniuses one after another. I can lose, but I won't admit defeat. Zhao Feng suddenly realized that this was his obsession. Lightning Fire God Eye. A faint azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. Boom! A ball of faint azure lightning fire landed on Goddess Bingwei's body, causing a low rumble. Now that he had comprehended the root of profound principle, the lightning fire god's eyes might have risen, and he was even more familiar with using it. Even peerless prodigies couldn't dodge the eye flame's secret technique's activation speed. Many people exclaimed as they saw the half-transparent faint azure lightning fire burn on Goddess Bingwei's body. Profound ice jade charming body. Goddess Bingwei smiled proudly. Her skin was like ice and crystal jade, smooth like glass and sparkling with light. Chi. The power of thunder and fire wreaked havoc on her body, but she remained unscathed. Everyone was stunned. Lao Feng's eye flame secret technique could instantly kill any existence under the true mystic rank and cause lethal damage to normal true mystic ranks. The power of the lightning fire was extremely strong, but it couldn't break through Goddess Bingwei's defense. when Goddess Bingwei's eyebrows furrowed as her jade-like body released a cold power that extinguished the lightning and fire. So, although the lightning fire god's eye couldn't injure her body, it had entered the mental energy dimension and almost injured her mind. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline flame could pierce through both the physical world and the mental energy world at the same time. This Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body can ignore attacks from normal true mystic ranks. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, the number of people that can break through her defense can be counted on one hand. Zhao Feng concluded and couldn't help but take a cold breath. The other 4 geniuses among the peerless geniuses were startled seeing this. This meant that with the mystic ice jade charming body, even if Goddess Bingwei let her opponent attack, normal early-stage true mystic ranks or even late-stage true mystic ranks wouldn't be able to harm her. Luckily, Zhao Feng's goal had been reached. Using this time 3-flowered treasured lotus. A 3-colored lotus appeared under Zhao Feng's feet. With the 3-flowered treasured lotus, Zhao Feng's defense increased greatly. He circulated his bloodline power, and his chi of true spirit soon returned to normal. The 3-flowered treasured lotus extended out green, blue and purple petals that formed a 3-colored barrier. This way, Zhao Feng's danger was temporarily resolved. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Goddess Bingwei recovered and a ball of cold wind shot over. Boom! Zhao Feng didn't dodge and took it head-on. The 3-colored barrier of the 3-flowered treasured lotus started to creak. The icy figure and the frozen throne behind him flickered as they frantically absorbed and converted the cold energy into ice energy. Zhao Feng still felt the terrifying coldness enter his body. Luckily his bloodline skill could absorb the cold energy. Goddess Bingwei paused slightly. She didn't think that Zhao Feng would be able to use the lightning fire god's eye to win some time and resolve the danger. Mystic Ice Demon Suppressing Mountain! Goddess Bingwei's aura rose as she waved her hand and an icy light flashed in the air as a giant ice mountain smashed down from the sky. The power of this move was twice as strong as before and could suppress enemies as well as targets with strong defense. Not good. Zhao Feng's expression changed as he felt an even more terrifying pressure. It was as if there was an ice mountain in the north that couldn't be blocked by humans. Break! Zhao Feng circulated his chi of true spirit and bloodline power, and waved his arms, sending out a powerful mystic flower lightning palm that clashed head-on with the ice mountain. Boom! Zhao Feng's strongest attack blossomed in the air like a flower of ice and lightning. This palm contained the essence of the lightning inheritance and mystic flower treasured Bible. His bloodline power was also pushed to the limit. In that instant, the ice mountain above Xiao Chen's head stopped moving, and cracks appeared on its surface. What a powerful attack! The combination of the power of ice and lightning contains another profound power. That brat hasn't even reached the late stages of the true human rank, but can release a palm that can heavily injure someone at the early stages of the true mystic rank. The geniuses in the ancient arena, including some of the spectators, were shocked. This move of mine is a continuous attack. A bone-chilling voice resounded across the arena. Who the cracks on the huge ice mountain rapidly healed. Drawing upon the profound mysteries of heaven and earth, it smashed down once more. Not good. Zhao Feng couldn't dodge and could only circulate his chi of true spirit and bloodline power. In that instant, the ice mountain pressed down on Zhao Feng's head. If it wasn't for the 3-flowered treasured lotus and the ice throne, Zhao Feng would have already been pressed to the ground and suppressed by Goddess Bingwei. Under this situation, Zhao Feng could only furiously circulate his chi of true spirit and bloodline power. However, the cold energy and the heavy pressure persisted. His face turned red from the suffocation. Wu Wu, the ice-light figure behind him, kept on absorbing and converting the coldness and was under great pressure. Within his body, the faint blue blood was being corroded by the coldness and absorbed even more coldness, and suddenly felt restless. Zhao Feng found that the restless coldness in his bloodline power was becoming stronger and stronger. His bloodline power was enduring the pressure of an iceberg. Under the effects of the icy figure and the throne, it was still absorbing the cold energy. At this moment, it was in an unstable state, throbbing with pain. The faint blue blood swelled up strangely and flickered brightly. Zhao Feng felt his power become stronger and stronger, and the coldness in his bloodline became more and more restless. This continued for several breaths until the pressure on Zhao Feng's body and bloodline reached a peak. At the same time, Goddess Bingwei shouted and slapped with her jade hand. The giant ice mountain's light brightened and the mysteries of the ice mountain were strengthened once again. Wah! Zhao Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and the bloodline power in his body seemed to find an opening. When Zhao Feng felt his body rumble, and the faint blue blood in his body suddenly started to crystallize. The bloodline power in his body started to glitter. The surface of Zhao Feng's skin also released a faint blue glow, and the lines on it were exquisite like a layer of crystal. Boom! Zhao Feng's power rose dramatically and the coldness in his bloodline became uncontrollable as he faced the ice mountain head-on, and finally passed this danger. Hu Tianma on the spectating stand let out a long breath with a complex expression. It's because of this pressure that his bloodline power has evolved. The awakening of bloodline power was an extremely difficult process, even harder than breaking through to the next rank. However, many geniuses awaken their bloodline power, or atavism, or strengthen their bloodline power when they were in a life-and-death situation or under immense pressure. Wang Xiaoguai was a representative of this. He fought without any regard for his life. This was the first time that Zhao Feng's bloodline power had truly evolved and returned to its ancestral state. At the end of the day, his path had been too smooth and he hadn't met any dangerous situations. Under this situation, the first evolution of his bloodline power was just a matter of time. After the evolution of his bloodline power, Zhao Feng's strength and coldness had both greatly increased. When Zhao Feng finally stopped the ice mountain above his head, the silhouette of the icy light and the frozen throne behind him became clearer. They protected and absorbed the cold energy, sharing more of the pressure. At the critical moment, this brat's bloodline power has evolved. Goddess Bingwei was shocked and enraged. The source of all this was her. If it wasn't for her mystic ice power, if it wasn't for the pressure she brought, Zhao Feng wouldn't have such a chance. Brat, it's useless. Even if you break through another rank, it won't change anything. Goddess Bingwei's eyes went cold as she waved her hand and connected with the mysteries of the heaven and earth. When the ice mountain figure's size increased to 40 to 50 yards and the coldness increased. Not good! Zhao Feng, admit defeat! Tianma's expression changed dramatically. Goddess Bingwei had been holding back and now she was finally going to go crazy. However, Zhao Feng didn't admit defeat and instead smiled. His hands released the power of ice and lightning to support the ice mountain figure. On the other side, he slowly closed his eyes. Within his dantian, his source of true spirit was being expended. But at the same time, the other source of true spirit, which was even purer and more powerful, was providing him with energy. This was the water moon pirate source of true spirit, the trump card that Zhao Feng hadn't used yet. Break through another rank. As you wish. Zhao Feng suddenly took a deep breath and the source of true spirit in his dantian released an even stronger qi of true spirit. The bottleneck to the late stages of the true human rank was like a piece of paper, easily broken. Chapter 357. This guy has indeed broken through. From every corner of the ancient arena came a flood of voices. The geniuses below the northern stage were stunned. This was too fake. Breaking through just like that. Not only did his bloodline power revert back to its ancestor level, it was also due to the pressure. Now, he had broken through a small realm in succession. It was truly inconceivable. On the stage, the 9 sovereigns had been paying attention to the northern zone mostly because of the overwhelming prodigy, Goddess Bingwei. Then the battle was full of surprises. In the past sacred true dragon gatherings, there have been cases of geniuses breaking through due to pressure. However, it's extremely rare for both to happen to the same person. The sovereigns clicked their tongues. Wait. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord shook his head faintly. This Zhao Feng's bloodline awakening is an accident, but his cultivation increasing is controlled. Sovereign Yuxingchen smiled. The deputy palace lord is right. This brat's mental energy level far surpasses his cultivation and is forming his root of law. He's long reached the early stages of the true human rank, and breaking through to the late stages is no problem at all. On the northern stage, wisps of pure qi of true spirit appeared in Zhao Feng's dantian, and along with his bloodline power, his strength rose dramatically. Pun! Zhao Feng roared as his palms blocked the ice mountain in the air and passed through another crisis. This? How is this possible? Goddess Bingwei's expression alternated between green and red. It was unknown whether it was from anger or shock and regret. Zhao Feng did as she wished and broke through just like that. In reality, Zhao Feng had been comprehending his root of law, and his mental energy level kept increasing. His cultivation had reached the early stages of the true human rank, and he had the requirements to break through to the late stages. However, Zhao Feng also understood that reaching the late stages of the true human rank didn't increase his strength, so he wasn't in a rush to break through. All his time was used to form his root of law. This was the most important part of his plan. However, under the immense pressure, Zhao Feng used the explosive power of his bloodline to break through this layer of paper. Mystical ice demon subduing mountain! Goddess Bingwei exclaimed, and with a wave of her hand, a second even larger ice mountain descended from the air and piled on top of the damaged ice mountain. What? This move can be stacked. Zhao Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. His palms burst forth with even more beautiful ice and thunder flowers, and he slammed them upwards. Rumble! Zhao Feng's entire body swayed, and the ice thunder flower shadows that erupted from his palms instantly shattered. Ka-cha! Immediately after, the three-flowered treasured lotus tricolored flower shadow barrier suddenly dimmed and shattered. Cracks appeared on the ice-light figure and thrown behind him, dimming somewhat. Wow! Zhao Feng spat out a mouthful of blood, suffering some light injuries. This was also thanks to the layers of defense in front of him, especially the absorption of cold energy by the bloodline's secret skill. Otherwise, with such a difference in power, he would have been turned into ice. Lightning Fire God Eye. At this critical moment, Zhao Feng advanced instead of retreating. A faint blue lightning flame flashed in his left eye. Boom! A half-transparent blue lightning flame that was even stronger than last time landed on Goddess Bingwei's body. Goddess Bingwei didn't have time to react and was burned by the lightning flame. Mystic Ice Jade charming body. Her skin seemed to be made of ice jade, and under the burning of the lightning flame only left behind imperceptible marks. This was because she had obtained the essence of the mystic ice inheritance, and cultivated the mystic ice jade charming body. If it was a normal true mystic rank, they would have been killed by the lightning flame already. Even so, the lightning flame eroded Goddess Bingwei's mental energy dimension and slightly injured her mind. Goddess Bingwei's eyebrows furrowed as the burning pain in her mind was extremely clear. With the increase in cultivation and bloodline, Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye this time was stronger than before. Destroy! She gritted her teeth, and the icy blue light around her body extinguished the lightning and fire. Using this time, Zhao Feng furiously circulated his source of true spirit and bloodline power to form another layer of defense. My chi of true spirit can't keep up. The pressure on Zhao Feng increased as he faced Goddess Bingwei's pressure. The biggest difference between him and Goddess Bingwei wasn't cultivation, not cultivation method, not bloodline but cultivation. Under this situation, Zhao Feng could only use the Water Moon Pirate's sealed source of true spirit. Large amounts of pure source of true spirit flowed into Zhao Feng's dantian. At the same time in his mind, the embryonic root of profound mysteries contained a unique comprehension of the profound mysteries. It could communicate with the might of the heavens and earth, increasing the might of one's moves. Woo! Suddenly, the faint azure line in Zhao Feng's mind suddenly became brighter and more condensed. Zhao Feng was surprised. That semi-finished root of profound mystery had met with some resistance at the final juncture of its condensation. It was lacking in maturity, so why was it suddenly advancing now? What was the reason? Zhao Feng was dazed by this sudden surprise. Wu Weng Zhao Feng's profound intent could be felt increasing, and the heaven-earth yuan qi around him became more active. In his mental energy world, the transparent faint azure line condensed and brightened. Both its length and thickness had increased. Boom! Zhao Feng thrust out his palm, and the power of ice and lightning blossomed as if it had its own life. Its power was twice as long as before. The same move, the same power. If the duration was doubled, the continuous destructive power would also be doubled. This was the transformation that had occurred to Zhao Feng. That brat's forming his root of law. How is this possible? He's only at the late stages of the true human rank, and he's already forming a root of law? The geniuses below the northern stage sensed something, and their eyes went wide. At this point in time, the aura from Zhao Feng's body became more and more obvious. The ripples of heaven-earth yuan qi nearby became more active. From the looks of it, his root of law was about to be formed. What's the reason that made me break through the bottleneck? Zhao Feng wasn't blinded by joy. There must be a reason if something was wrong. At this moment, his god's spiritual eye scanned his body and quickly analyzed. In almost an instant, Zhao Feng found the culprit. The water-moon pirate's source of true spirit. So that's how it is. The root of law is formed on the basis of the source of true spirit. The root of profound that I condensed simultaneously fused the profound mysteries of the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible. However, the majority of my source of true spirit is from the lightning inheritance, and I lack the source of true spirit from the mystic flower treasured Bible. A light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes, and he couldn't help but tremble with excitement. The truth had been revealed. Zhao Feng didn't train in the mystic flower treasured Bible and lacked the source of true spirit. This caused him to merge the essences of two great skills and form the root of law. It was extremely difficult, and he was stuck at the last step. But now, what Zhao Feng lacked had arrived. The water-moon pirate had trained in the mystic flower treasured Bible, and his fame spread far and wide. What he had left behind was the source of true spirit. After this condition was met, the root of law in Zhao Feng's mind was no longer obstructed and started to grow. With a thought, the root of law in his mind was extremely compatible with the true source of true spirit. The plan has succeeded. Zhao Feng was overjoyed, and his battle intent rose. Blue-haired brat, it's useless. Even if you've formed the root of law, you don't have enough true force and cultivation. It's like the moon in the water. Goddess Bingwei's smile was filled with coldness and mockery. She didn't care if Zhao Feng reached the late stages of the true human rank or formed the root of law. The difference in strength between her and Zhao Feng was far too great. Breaking through one or two minor realms would be of no use. Ha! Who says I don't? Zhao Feng roared into the sky, and his root of law formed. His every action connected to the mysteries of the heavens and earth. Suddenly, an incomparably powerful true spirit aura was released from his body, faintly shaking the entire stage. This aura instantly surpassed the true human rank and even surpassed Bing Shuiwei, Ma Tiansan and company at the true mystic rank. In one leap, Zhao Feng's aura was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. It wasn't just his mental energy aura, even his qi of true spirit was the same. What's going on? What's going on? Damn! This brat's cultivation has suddenly increased. The northern zone and the entire ancient arena broke out into chaos. Expressions of disbelief and shock were on their faces. Break! Zhao Feng thrust out his palm, and the figure of lightning and ice blossomed into a terrifying flower of ice and lightning that seemed to have its own intelligence. The flower of ice and lightning became bigger and bigger. Crack! The two large ice mountains above his head were shattered by Zhao Feng's palm. How is this possible? Goddess Bingwei was shocked and in disbelief. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. She didn't believe it, and waved her jade-like hand, and a bone-chilling wind swept towards Zhao Feng. Overwhelming prodigy! Come, let's have a big battle! Zhao Feng laughed and thrust out a palm that complemented the laws of the heavens and earth. In a split second, the terrifying lightning ripples spread out for a radius of 1 li. They multiplied endlessly, like a magnificent flower, their power unending. Boom boom, Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei faced off, and the remaining power was enough to instantly kill normal cultivators at the true spirit realm. How is this possible? He's crossed an entire realm. Could he have hidden his cultivation? Goddess Bingwei's face was full of anger, and her words were almost incoherent. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Feng's foundation was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank. What? What was going on? Not only was Goddess Bingwei unable to accept this, even the geniuses present were speechless. However, this was the reality in front of them. Normally speaking, in order to determine a person's cultivation, one needed to look at their mental energy level and true force. Did Zhao Feng have the mental energy level of the early stages of the true mystic rank? He did. His mental energy level was comparable to the true mystic rank long ago, and his root of law had merged the essences of 2 different skills. Therefore, his root of law was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank and was stronger than Bing Shuiwei. Then, did Zhao Feng have the true force of the early stages of the true mystic rank? So did he. One had to know that the Water Moon Pirate's cultivation was close to the True Lord rank at his peak. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit had even surpassed the early stages of the true mystic rank. However, in order to truly control the source of true spirit, there were 2 conditions. Firstly, one had to have enough mental energy to form the root of law. Secondly, the element of the root of law had to be the same as the mystic flower treasured Bible. Unfortunately, Zhao Feng already had these 2 conditions. Chapter 358. At this moment, the miracles and impossibilities of the ancient arena gathered on the blue-haired youth of the northern stage. In the blink of an eye he had gone from the early stages of the true human rank to the early stages of the true mystic rank. Northern stage. Boom, Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei faced each other, and the 2 powerful auras clashed on the stage, made it hard for the geniuses below to breathe. True mystic rank mental energy level. True mystic rank root of law. True mystic rank source of true spirit. From the surface, Zhao Feng was no different from the early stages of the true mystic rank. The plan has succeeded. Reaching the top 10 and challenging overwhelming prodigies is no longer a dream. Zhao Feng's heart was filled with excitement, and his every action connected to the heaven and earth, and released the chi of true spirit of the true mystic rank, increasing his strength by several times. When Zhao Feng found that his mental energy level was high enough to form a root of law, he had a flash of inspiration and had this bold plan. At that time, Zhao Feng's thought was that once he formed the root of law, apart from his true force cultivation, there wouldn't be much difference between him and the true mystic rank. However, he still had the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. After forming the root of law and controlling the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, how much difference would there be between him and the true mystic rank? This plan was shockingly bold, and it was a godlike turn of events. Once successful, everything was possible for Zhao Feng in this sacred true dragon gathering, and he could even challenge the overwhelming prodigies. Of course, apart from luck, there were 2 other important factors for this plan to succeed. 1. Forming the root of law and merging the essence and intent of the mystic flower treasured Bible. 2. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Neither of the 2 could be missing, and both were extremely harsh. Normal experts at the true spirit realm wouldn't be able to keep their source of true spirit when they died and wouldn't be able to give it to others. However, the Water Moon Pirate had the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance's sealing technique that could seal his source of true spirit in a special state. This was the Water Moon Pirate's meticulous plan to give a generous gift to the inheritor of the mystic flower treasured Bible. Although Zhao Feng didn't cultivate the mystic flower treasured Bible, he had inherited the source of true spirit in a different way. Wonderful! Truly exquisite! Tiamat, who was at the spectator stand, slammed the table and stood up. He was excited and pleased, which was rarely seen. As the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion, Tiamat obviously knew about Xiao Feng's past. Now, when Xiao Feng's results came out, Tiamat naturally guessed most of it. Tiamat was not the only one who clapped the table and cheered. Those who were familiar with Xiao Feng, those who knew Xiao Feng personally, and those who thought highly of Xiao Feng, were all shouting and cheering at the same time. Too strong! Junior brother Xiao, you've once again subverted the understanding of the world. On the spectating stand, Yang Gan's eyes were brimming with tears and his voice was trembling. Ever since he had come to the sacred True Dragon gathering, he had watched each of Xiao Feng's battles. Yang Gan faintly understood why First Elder had sent him to watch the sacred True Dragon gathering. Great! Brother Xiao Feng, you've succeeded! Zhao Yufei cried tears of joy. Lu Qingqin, Dai Yi, Jiang Sanfeng and company were overjoyed. The geniuses of the Canopy Great countries such as Prince Jin, Tian Yunji and company were both shocked and proud. Oh my God, this is a miracle! He can't even be described as a black horse. The square-faced youth was filled with excitement and pride. He had always thought highly of Zhao Feng and didn't agree with senior brother Qin Kunwu. Qin Kunwu's face was filled with shock and speechlessness. The shocking turn of events in the northern region arena had shaken the entire ancient arena, igniting the blood of countless young geniuses. Zhao Feng! Zhao Feng! Challenge an overwhelming prodigy! We'll support you! The cheers of the crowd were like the tide. The legend of the overwhelming prodigy was like a shadow that shrouded the geniuses of this era. And Zhao Feng was this miraculous horse. He had reversed the situation like a god and was charging at an overwhelming prodigy. In the air above the arena, on the stage. Unbelievable! The source of true spirit sealed within his body is probably a secret technique from the Heaven's legacy inheritance. He struggled step by step and didn't admit defeat even when he knew he was going to lose. This determination and perseverance is the prerequisite for him to create miracles. The sovereign sighed. If Zhao Feng thought he was going to lose and admitted defeat right from the start, would there still be a chance for him to create miracles? However, the word admit defeat didn't exist in Zhao Feng's dictionary. He could lose, but he couldn't admit defeat. Thinking up to here, Tiamat on the spectating stand couldn't help but think. He remembered how he had given up and admitted defeat time and time again. If he had persevered back then, he might be at the origin core realm right now. And Mo Tianyi had the same thoughts. His fists were clenched, and his body was trembling. And Mo Tianyi suddenly realized that he was lacking something. When he faced the overwhelming prodigy Yu Tianhao, he admitted defeat in one move. At that time, he could see the faint disappointment on Yu Tianhao's face. Compared to the difference between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei, the difference between him and Yu Tianhao wasn't that big. Good! Only an opponent like this is worthy of respect. Yu Tianhao's eyes flashed. There was a battle thirst in his blood that burned and the will in his eyes was stronger than ever. Yu Tianhao stood at the peak of the continent, and was said to be unparalleled for dozens of generations. At the same time, he had surpassed the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch and Sword Saint Yi Wuxia. The number one genius in history. Everyone glanced over. This cold and lonely peerless genius was praising and admiring someone for the first time. Unknowingly, everyone's evaluation of Zhao Feng went up another level. Yu Xingchen, the bloodline of your Yu family is a wonder of the heavens and earth. It can't be touched, but it does exist. This son of yours has some potential. The brown-skinned giant deputy palace lord said with interest. In the ancient era, my Yu family had a bloodline ancestor called Yu Wushuang who was said to be unparalleled in the world. His will was to be unparalleled in the world. Sovereign Yu Xingchen said with yearning. Then did Yu Wushuang do it? One of the venerables at the side teased. There was no such thing as being truly unparalleled. He did succeed. But in the end, he was unable to advance any further and died alone. This is the ancestral teaching of my Yu family, passed down from generation to generation, Yu Xingchen said solemnly. The sovereigns present couldn't help but think after hearing this. The Yu Wushuang that Yu Xingchen was talking about was just a legend. Whether or not Yu Wushuang was unparalleled wasn't the main point but the meaning of the teachings. Northern Stage. Zhao Feng's every move contained the root of law that he had comprehended in his life and connected with the mysteries of heaven and earth. Ta! He roared, and each of his attacks contained the cultivation of the early stages of the true mystic rank. In a battle between experts, everyone's cultivation was the most basic strength. Secondly, skills, bloodline power, and weapons were all factors that increased one's strength. Zhao Feng's current cultivation base was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank, and adding on the root of law and bloodline power, he could kill normal true spirit realm experts with a casual attack. How is this possible? The overwhelming prodigy goddess Bingwei exclaimed in her heart. Her face was filled with shock and doubt, as if she couldn't accept this reality. At the start, she had to hide her strength in case she killed someone on purpose, which would affect her sacred true dragon gathering result. Her plan was to let the poison corrode Zhao Feng's body and turn him into an ice corpse. He wouldn't be able to participate in the sacred true dragon gathering and would die within half a year. However, the plan didn't succeed and the opponent broke through again and again. The godlike reversal at the end gave her a heavy blow. It seemed that all her hard work and planning had helped increase the strength of her opponent. At this point in time, Goddess Bingwei was using her full strength to fight against Zhao Feng. Goddess Bingwei's bloodline and skill were both strong, and her overall strength was at the top of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. However, the problem was that Zhao Feng's bloodline power could absorb and convert the power of ice, which slightly countered Goddess Bingwei. When the difference in cultivation wasn't too big, Zhao Feng's bloodline power had the advantage. Adding on the fact that Zhao Feng had the protection of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, the higher his cultivation base, the stronger his defense. Back then, the Water Moon Pirate could even block the attacks of a true Lord rank for a short amount of time with the 3-flowered treasured lotus. The sad thing was, all of Goddess Bingwei's attacks were of the ice element. Any attack that got close to Zhao Feng would be absorbed by the ice figure and thrown by at least 50%, and even increase the endurance of Zhao Feng's bloodline. Specialization was indeed the best path to the peak. But under the same cultivation, it was sad when a specialization met an all-rounder. Zhao Feng's attacks could pass through the mental energy and physical dimensions. Lightning Fire God's Eye. A faint azure lightning fire flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. Boom! Lightning and fire even stronger than before landed on Goddess Bingwei's body and started to burn. Even though she had the mystic ice jade charming body, she didn't dare be careless. His eye flame is getting stronger and stronger. Goddess Bingwei's body and mind were suffering from a lot of burning pain, especially on the mental level. Even the overwhelming prodigies had to be careful. From this one could see the power of Zhao Feng's lightning fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng didn't chase and instead tried to absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Only by completely merging with the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit can I be considered a true mystic rank. Zhao Feng wasn't fooled by the power in front of him. From the looks of it, his mental energy level and chi of true spirit had both reached the true mystic rank. But this was all on the surface. Only by completely absorbing the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit and merging it with his body, mental energy, and root of law, as well as not rejecting his own mind, energy, and mind, would it be considered a success. My true cultivation right now is at most near the peak true human rank. Zhao Feng's heart was clear. Furthermore, his battle with Goddess Bingwei was focused on defense to reduce the expenditure of his source of true spirit. Zhao Feng could borrow the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, but the more he used, the less he would have. This meant this source of true spirit was the source of death and had no ability to regenerate. Unless this source of true spirit completely belonged to Zhao Feng, and through Zhao Feng's body, it had the ability to recover. At that time, Zhao Feng would be a true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng focused on defense and occasionally used his lightning fire god's eye to make Goddess Bingwei wary. Secretly, he used his root of law to merge with the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Every bit he converted would increase Zhao Feng's true cultivation by a bit. Chapter 359. Northern Stage. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei were in a stalemate. Being one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bingwei's mystic eye skill surpassed all geniuses of this generation. At least in the ancient arena, there wasn't a second genius that could compare to her in terms of ice elemental skills. However, this was where she was at a disadvantage. Her mystic eye skill was countered by Zhao Feng's bloodline power. Under a situation where the difference in cultivation wasn't too big, Zhao Feng's ice figure and throne had strong resistance against ice and could absorb it to increase his bloodline power. Adding on the 3-flowered treasured lotus defense, Zhao Feng could last a long time when he was on the defensive. Luckily, the first overwhelming prodigy I met was Goddess Bingwei. If it was any other overwhelming prodigy, even if my plan succeeded, I probably wouldn't be able to last long. Zhao Feng wasn't arrogant enough to think he had reached the level of an overwhelming prodigy. His bloodline secret art perfectly countered Goddess Bingwei's ice cultivation art and bloodline. This was why he could barely protect himself. The current situation. Goddess Bingwei's overwhelming prodigy strength was still suppressing Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng defended more than attacked and occasionally used the lightning fire god's eye to open up the situation and make Goddess Bingwei wary. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't try to attack Goddess Bingwei, but the latter's mystic ice jade charming body's defense was extremely strong, and also had strong resistance against ice attacks. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bingwei's defense was one of the top and even stronger than Yu Tianhao's. Therefore, Zhao Feng couldn't do anything to Goddess Bingwei, so he focused on defense and quickly absorbed the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Soon, 100 moves had passed. Zhao Feng had absorbed a portion of the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, and his true cultivation was close to the peak true human rank. As long as I completely absorb the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, my cultivation will at least reach the early stages of the true mystic rank. Zhao Feng was secretly delighted. His realm was sufficient, and the concept and profundities contained within the root of profound corresponded with the mystic flower treasured Bible, so there wouldn't be a situation where his realm was unstable. However, as time passed, Zhao Feng discovered a problem. Compared to his own source of true spirit, the water moon pirate's source of true spirit was purer and more abundant. Once he completely absorbed the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, it would change the nature of Zhao Feng's source of true spirit. At that time, Zhao Feng would have to change to the mystic flower treasured Bible. All along, Zhao Feng had focused on the lightning inheritance as his core cultivation, and the mystic flower treasure book was secondary. There were 2 reasons for this choice. Firstly, in terms of attack power, the lightning inheritance was stronger, and it excelled in speed. Secondly, Zhao Feng had cultivated the lightning inheritance long ago, and had a deep foundation. Furthermore, this inheritance had a certain chance of breaking through to the primal core realm. Only by using the lightning inheritance as the core can I guarantee my strength and offensive power. Zhao Feng made a decision without hesitation. This way, Zhao Feng would have to give up a portion of the water moon pirate's source of true spirit and slow down the speed of absorption. Water moon god peach fan. With a paw, an elegant mountain and water fan appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. Since he had to give up a portion of the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, Zhao Feng wouldn't purposely conserve his chi of true spirit. Hu Peng! He waved the mountain and river folding fan in his hand, and layers of ice and lightning fan shadows with an imposing aura smashed towards Goddess Bingwei like a flood. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly and pointed out with her jade hand. Tens of thousands of ice arrows shot towards Zhao Feng like a swarm of locusts. Pew pew pew! Those huge ice and thunder fan shadows were instantly riddled with holes. Ice and thunder exploded, and electric waves spread in all directions. Boom! The large area attacks of the true mystic rank clashed on the stage, and the slightest shockwave could heavily injure those at the true spirit realm. Even with the help of the water moon god Peach Fan, Zhao Feng's attacks were easily destroyed by goddess Bingwei. One had to know. At this point in time, the water moon god Peach Fan combined with the water moon pirate's source of true spirit and the root of law from the two skills, as well as Zhao Feng's bloodline power. Its true power was close to the peak of the water moon pirate. From this one could see that even if the water moon pirate came back to life, he might not be able to beat goddess Bingwei and might even be at a disadvantage. Shwa! Shwa! The mountain and water fan in Zhao Feng's hand waved and created half-transparent petals of water and lightning that enveloped goddess Bingwei from all directions. This fan also contains mental energy attacks. Goddess Bingwei's mind went numb, and her blood started to boil. The water moon god Peach Fan not only had strong offensive power, it also had mental energy attacks. Lightning Fire God's Eye. A faint azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye as he counterattacked. Boom! The fierce azure lightning flame burned on goddess Bingwei's body and eroded her mental energy. This counterattack finally stopped goddess Bingwei's pressure on Zhao Feng. Mystic Ice Crystal Illusion Sword. A translucent ice sword suddenly appeared in goddess Bingwei's hand. It was a middle-tier spiritual grade weapon, and it slashed towards Zhao Feng with a wave of cold light. Mystic Ice Crystal Illusion Sword. This is goddess Bingwei's ice elemental weapon from the Mystic Ice inheritance, and can greatly increase the power of ice. The sword is extremely sharp and can create illusions and even contains a mental energy attack. Mo Tianyi from the middle zone exclaimed as he looked at Zhao Feng with a complicated gaze. Ever since goddess Bingwei's mystic ice divine technique had reached the peak of her cultivation and was close to the true lord rank, she rarely used weapons. But now Zhao Feng, a black horse, had forced goddess Bingwei to use her weapon. Facing the ice sword light and the ever-changing illusions, Zhao Feng felt an inexplicable pressure. However, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Her attacks contain illusions that make it hard to tell which is real and which can pierce through mental energy. Zhao Feng scanned with his left eye and came to a conclusion. In this state, goddess Bingwei's terrifying attacks, illusionary swords, and mental energy combined into one caused the other overwhelming prodigies to pale in fright. However, the sad thing was that goddess Bingwei was once again countered by Zhao Feng. Firstly, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye destroyed the illusions with one glance. As for the mental energy attack, Zhao Feng could basically ignore it. Zhao Feng was an existence that had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul and had cultivated mental energy for many years. His god's spiritual eye was immune to mental energy attacks. This way, goddess Bingwei's weapon only had a sharper attack. This did indeed put more pressure on Zhao Feng. Open! Zhao Feng waved the mountain water fan in his hand. Crack! Crack! The water moon immortal peach fan suddenly turned into the shape of an umbrella. It had a diameter of 3 meters and protected his body as it spun rapidly. Ding ding boom! The umbrella-shaped water moon god peach fan spun rapidly, blocking and diverting the attack. This was the first layer of protection. After that was the second layer of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, which had stronger defense and the ability to move. Shwa! The 3-flowered treasured lotus took Zhao Feng and sped towards goddess Bingwei. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's 2 layers of defense were like a turtle shell and his bloodline could absorb goddess Bingwei's attacks. You're courting death! Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold and a transparent ice wind appeared in her hand that gave off a forbidden coldness. Zhao Feng knew that this was goddess Bingwei's killing move. Even with all his defenses, he couldn't block it head-on. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Boom! A ball of azure lightning fire exploded on goddess Bingwei's body and eroded her mental energy dimension, interrupting her secret technique. Damn it! Goddess Bingwei gritted her teeth. The only thing she was wary of was Zhao Feng's eye bloodline secret technique, which was instantly activated and turned the situation around. Soon, Zhao Feng's figure neared Goddess Bing Wei and secretly circulated the water-moon pirate's source of true spirit. The fragrance of the three-flowered treasured lotus was released. Shameless! Goddess Bing Wei smelled the fragrance, and her body became hot as she was affected by the aphrodisiac fragrance. So! Seeing Goddess Bing Wei's figure quickly retreat and maintain a distance from Xiao Feng, the latter closed in step by step. The three-flowered treasured lotus was indeed worthy of being the water-moon pirate's most precious treasure. Although it didn't have any offensive abilities, it had support, defense, and movement abilities. The three-flowered treasured lotus fragrance is effective on all three levels of the true spirit realm. Only those at the true lord rank can resist it. Xiao Feng was overjoyed. He had now inherited the water-moon pirate's legacy and controlled most of its essence. As long as a true lord rank didn't appear, he could protect himself easily. If Zhao Feng's cultivation was close to the water-moon pirates, then even a true lord rank wouldn't be able to do anything to him. The battle is over. A dignified voice echoed throughout the northern stage like a bell between the heavens and earth. Xiao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei were both stunned by a terrifying pressure, and their figures stopped. The two turned their gazes towards the judge. Your duel lasted for an hour and ended in a draw, the judge said expressionlessly. Xiao Feng couldn't help but let out a long breath. He wanted to absorb the water-moon pirate's source of true spirit and consolidate his root of law. Goddess Bing Wei's face was filled with hatred and killing intent as she gritted her teeth. With the sovereign judge's announcement, the ancient arena was dead silent for a moment before erupting into cheers, as if they were celebrating for Xiao Feng. In this era, the five overwhelming prodigies were like a shadow that shrouded countless geniuses. They desperately needed someone who could shake the overwhelming prodigies and break the shadow of the legend. And Xiao Feng was a miraculous dark horse. His godlike turnaround allowed him to charge at the overwhelming prodigies and ultimately win a draw. Although this battle is a draw, Bing Wei, because you challenged Xiao Feng and lost, you lost twice the normal amount of dragon blessing. Although it's a draw, you'll lose the normal amount of dragon blessing. The judge emotionlessly waved the true dragon flag in his hand. When powerful dragon blessing flowed from the overwhelming prodigy Goddess Bing Wei into Xiao Feng's body. In an instant, the true dragon token on Xiao Feng's body released a blinding silver light, and a true dragon light surrounded his body.